Welcome back to what remains, session 41, entitled Sunshine and Shadows. Last session, the group returned back to the city of Nock after a harrowing series of events inside of the temple beneath the Dragon Shrine. uh, they went back to the Elmwoods Tavern and they have reconvened. They then did some shopping during the next day and some kind of deflating during the evening of the that day. They all kind of reconvened back at Elmwoods. It's a relatively busy evening, and there's a private party happening inside of the private room, so not much place for the group to kind of meander about today due to the fact that it's kind of the work week's end, and so Elmwoods actually kind of sees a bit of business on this day. The group is able to kind of coordinate slightly, but the main thing that happens during this kind of end of the day matter is Anne asks Fiona, "Hey, I know it's probably not. You're so busy going around everywhere that you're going, but you wouldn't happening be heading over to Land's End anytime soon?"
Yeah, just kind of thinks about that for a moment. Why do you ask?
Well, if you're going like right away, I could save a lot in shipping. I wouldn't have to pay any of the arrogant people to deliver this package, she says as she gestures towards the package you saw her earlier today, filling up with random bottles and knickknacks and such.
Wait, is that where Golradir lives in Land's End?
Yeah, that's what who the package is for. We coordinated some contacts for him out of the city, and he was kind enough to get us in contact with some of the Mare Enclave winemakers. So we have quite a little trade negotiation going between us now that he's started up his little tavern. But you'd be doing me a great... I mean, I know that your friend Avran has that carriage. If you could just maybe, like, it's not too far away, and...
Oh, of course. Say no more. I would actually really like to see him again. So.
Okay, great. So yeah, just tomorrow morning, head over to Land's End, and yep, just be on your way.
Tomorrow.
And she just doesn't even pay attention to you if he's walking away. You can see
Mom!
you can see your dad kind of like cross his arms and kind of shake his head, kind of walk forward and say, "Sorry."
It's all right. I just I guess I'm leaving tomorrow.
Guess so. It's not that far a trip, and from what I understand, Stratos made the pass between there and here relatively less horrible after what happened in Siffer's Pass.
Right. And honestly, Dad, I don't think I'm going to experience anything like I experienced the other time, so I don't think you need to worry about me anymore.
No problem. Well, hopefully the trip to go see your friend Golradir helps you out with dealing with the trauma.
She just kind of smiles and gives her dad like a really quick peck on the cheek before heading off to do her errands.
Yeah, and when I say this place is busy, like, it's really busy. Like, this is typical for the end of the sixth day, the day right before the day of Dan, the holy day of the sixth day. Basically, everyone's done working, partying. Elmwoods is a pretty cool place in the Magic District. There are some people who have taken to playing games, but most of them are very well kind of like invested in their own groups or kind of like their tight-knit circles. So you as a group kind of like can't really talk and can't really do anything. And in all honesty, it's just a different atmosphere than you're used to. Does anybody have anything that they want to close out the night with, or do we want to go ahead and cycle to the morning?
Can we shop this night or no?
Shopping's done. You should have done that in the side chats. Yeah.
Oh.
The only thing Fiona might want to do if she has the time is to stop by Professor Corrigan's office and just briefly explain what she found about the Orichalcum dwarves mining process, if he knows anything about that or if that's completely new information.
He would also be very busy because it's the end of the 6th day. Tomorrow is his day off, so he seems to be kind of invested in his current activities. He says he'll take the information that you have and go over it, but he doesn't give you any promises as to when he'll be able to get to it. It'll probably be some point during the next 6th day.
Okay, wonderful. So then, knowing that, she'll spend the evening just writing out as much detail as she can about the process, about what she saw, and any of the magical stuff she saw.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Real quick. Basic potions of healing are 50 gold pieces a piece.
Yeah, they are considered mundane if they're in the player's handbook. Correct.
Okay, excellent. Cool.
How much?
I'm gonna pick up 4 of those.
How much was the belt of giant strength?
Did you roll a percentage to see if you were able to find a belt of giant strength?
No.
Then you didn't find a belt of giant strength.
God damn it.
I do apologize, you guys. I did lay out the rules several times
No,
and clarify.
you did.
I adhered it. I pinned it.
I know.
I made sure that there was no reason why we would come to the point where we were in the game where you would have a question
I'm sorry.
or be confused. Even when I was asked inside chats the same question I had answered 5 to 6 times, I answered them as best I could without posting screaming gifs or anything like that. So you don't have a belt of giant strength.
Now you get a live screaming gif.
One.
Okay.
This is me being upset. So,
I'm sorry, Dad.
Fair enough. Moving past that, is there anything anybody else wants to engage in during the course of the evening before tomorrow? Does anybody want to ask what the plan is? Does anybody want to suggest a plan to the group? Again, you're able to coordinate with everybody. It's just not going to be a situation where we're able to sit down and powwow because there's really no space to do so. Place is packed.
Knowing there's not a lot of space, Fiona would keep it as brief as possible, but basically say to the people who remember Golradir, so Hezrod and Avran, that she intends to head out there tomorrow to run an errand to him in Land's End, and then she would address the rest of them and try to briefly explain who Golradir is, and that he's a friend that they trust, and that she just wants to drop something off for him if they don't mind accompanying them to Land's End tomorrow morning.
Well,
Yeah, at the mention of...
One at a time.
Yes.
Go
Go ahead,
Chad.
Tom.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh.
Well, given the way the past week has gone, I think an extra night's sleep is probably a good plan. And I know yesterday's activities weren't exactly pleasant for several of you, but I found that the best way to kind of deal with those situations is to try to do something good to make up for it. So helping your family and visiting a friend would probably help quite a few of us. How long does that take by carriage?
2 days.
I may have a way to get us there a little faster in the morning. We'll check in the morning, and I'll see if I can get us there a little faster.
Hezrod's kind of he's obviously acquired a beer somehow.
Oh, they still sell them.
Yeah. It's even if there's difficulty or something, he has a beer.
Yeah.
And he's still kind of sulking. But then at the mention of Golradir, he kind of perks up and he's like, Golradir. And then at the mention of Land's End, he's like, Land's End. So now he's totally. At first he was very distracted by his sulking, but now he's totally on board with, he doesn't even know what the plan is, but it involves Golradir and Land's End, so he's all for it.
Perfect. Let's see. Anything from Kel? Again, that's also in your neck of the woods. It's kind of closer to Riverfolk Town.
Yep.
Sound good for you?
Yeah, Kel would say that he's definitely up for a little R&R, a little nice traveling, light traveling.
Sounds like we've got everybody on board with the exception of Jonah. Is Avran good to go for a short trip to meet with Golradir?
He is good to go now.
Perfect. You sleep, you awaken. As you do so, and you're waiting kind of outside at the carriage, kind of getting your stuff together and getting ready. Tom, go ahead and explain to me the scene as you arrive on the scene, and I'll give a potential...
Yeah. As people are gathering outside for the carriage, a auto carriage is going to pull up, and Soma will step out and suggest this might be a little faster. And Fiona, I'm assuming this can still fit everything that your mother is trying to send.
Well, yes, of course. I'm surprised. How did you get it?
You all thought I was a noble to start with. I just happened to get back some of my means.
Oh. Well,
Is this
thank you.
the Somomobile?
I'm posting the Somomobile in the Discord. I will get a handout here for a second for video visual aid.
Amazing.
I love it. Look at that
Big
thing.
surprise.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Hezrod kind of does a walk around. And he's like kind of looking very impressed. And then he kind of looks at Soma and he says, "Did you have to kill someone for it?"
No.
Kel will climb up top of it. All right,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Hezrod also climbs on top.
Fiona
He's like
kinda
this,
looks at
like
it
holding
and,
on to the top.
Yeah, Fiona's a little terrified and she kind of looks over at Soma. Can I sit in it?
Yeah, so
Yes.
okay, for the love of God. I turned my phone volume off and it said, no, psych, you have phone volume. Okay, so the carriage, as you can see in the image, which I am now posting here in the game, that back portion of it that's kind of beetle-like, it's very much just like the carriage that you have with Avran. Like, it's the front glass bubble portion is where the driver goes, and possibly like 2 passengers, and then it can fit 4 more passengers in the back very comfortably, or it could at most fit a total of 8 people in the entirety of the vehicle. And I think it has a capacity of about 1,000 pounds of storage. So the best way to kind of think about it in like car terminologies is it's very much like an SUV.
Okay.
I hope this can get us all to see your friend here in a single day as opposed to 2 days.
Well, yes. If it's all right with you, can I sit in the front? And she kind of like taps at the glass a little excitedly.
Well, at least 2 people are on top, so I don't know that there's a lot of competition. So
Up top's where the merfolk go.
Yeah. Everybody gets in. Everybody gets on board. Loads it up. The person outside at the stables looks to Avran and says, "Don't worry, I'll keep them nice and well fed, and lots of water for them."
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Avron turns to the auto carriage and he's very like, you ever seen an old person look at a new piece of technology and they're just like, unimpressed.
Fair enough. Hop aboard and head on out. The drive is not terribly long. The main way that you would know to get to Land's End from here on foot by road would be to take the main highway up and then through the Dunwater Pass out towards Sindo. You could refuel at Sindo. The vehicle in question that you're using, auto carriages come in 3 variants. The one that you have does require combustible fuel. Whale blubber oil is what's utilized for these specific auto carriages, and Sindo is lush with that specific resource, as it's one of the main kind of fishing areas for the divide and also the bay of Silverfang. But there, refuel and make your way to Land's End without issue. You would arrive there late in the day, very late in the day, as we're looking at distance of about, like all said and done, it's about 80 miles, and you're moving at about 50 miles per hour on average. So actually it'd probably be less than that. My brain's dumb. It would be 30 miles per hour. So it's a couple of hours. Several hours? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. The point is you arrive late in the afternoon as you went uphill, downhill, etc. easy. I'm not gonna try and work out the math.
You know,
Obviously,
that whale
is
blubber
that
does
we're
not pump
there.
fast.
Yeah, I'm not good at it. I'm just not good at it.
We're there. We're there.
It's like
That's the point.
3-ish
That's the
hours.
point. You're there. Lands.
Also, this auto carriage is not very environment friendly.
Fair. That's true.
We have druids for that stuff. It's fine.
Right. They can fix the harm we're doing.
They got it.
Um,
Their
when,
whole thing.
when you arrive in Land's End, I believe that you've been here before. Some of you.
Mhm.
Several times, yes.
Maybe
Did I
in
get it right?
passing.
Yeah. It's a small town. You'll be arriving from the south side of it. It currently looks like in the map it's in disarray. It looks like pieces are missing, but that's not true. It's actually quite different from the last time you were here, as it's been a few months. That being said, a lot more of the roofs are on, and a lot more of the buildings are kind of back to structural semblance of normality versus what you saw when you initially got here, reminding you that when you first got here, Sereda had been taking and rebuilding the place after a devastating storm had assailed Land's End from the lake to the south, Blackavon Lake.
We still need, so that is that Wizard's Tower still standing?
Yes, correct. It is still the mayoral seat of power.
Oh shit! I thought we had been like contracted to demolish it.
No.
Okay.
You were contracted to purify it of the ghosts that were present, but there weren't ghosts.
Oh yeah, I think we had determined after discovering that portal at the top, we determined that the best plan of action was to destroy it.
Yeah, they decided on different measures.
Isn't that always Hezrod's main plan?
Absolutely.
Good,
Absolutely. It was definitely a Hezrod idea.
it's a good modus operandi, I suppose.
Effective.
But yeah, I assume you would head through the town in your auto carriage and make your way to the north side, where you would know the tavern is located. It's been a while since you've been here. I believe you did stop in the basement not too long ago, but didn't really delve around too much therein.
Yeah, I believe that was where we found like some sort of gateway, and then Alton found the hidden treasure.
Correct. But you make your way there, and it looks like the state of the place has significantly changed. I will leave the description therein up to Elizabeth as to what it looks like from the outside.
Well, I'd expect that there's still some construction going on, so scaffolding on the outside. But I can put it in the latest version in the chat.
So seeing all this stuff happening.
Yeah. There's a... Is that the latest one? Yes. So it was formerly a 2-story building. Now it's 3 stories, or becoming 3 stories. And there is a stable on the side of the building. The front has mostly Allowane styled windows. On the side, there's one of Ashtar, as well as 3 Octavius on the top. But it is much better despite the scaffolding, and it has most of the roof still getting tiled.
The tile in question is kind of a purplish color. It looks like that is different than the tiling on the buildings that have tiling present. Who keeps typing with their mic live?
Not me.
Fight them. Yeah, it looks otherwise. The construction materials and the like are very similar to what's been kind of going up everywhere else. But the tiles do look like they're from somewhere else, like they're being imported from somewhere else.
It's a little bit of a blend of both Elvish as well as more
Nokian.
general Nokian.
Yeah, I was going to say the tiles are probably imports from Mare.
Yeah.
Probably something akin to kind of like a different kind of different type of material used to kind of create the clay shingles, possibly from the Feywild itself. But yeah, very gorgeous looking establishment, especially considering last time the roof was caved in on the second floor, and parts of the first floor had parts of the second floor in it. So that being said, it does look like there are a couple of people like meandering out of the place. It does look like there are several people working on the place on the outside as well. But it also looks like there's a place to park your vehicle.
Almost as if we were meant to come here.
As like the auto carriage kind of pulls into the spot and slows down, Hezrod kind of like rolls and falls off the roof and like scrambles to his feet. And he's like, "Hey, hey, who are you people? What are you doing to my house?"
Huh? You can see they have like the typical flush of like the people who are walking out have like the typical flush of people who day drunk. The people who are kind of banging at
That's
the
right.
house
Very familiar with that.
don't even hear you. Like they don't hear you. You are not loud enough. They are definitely working.
Fiona
Ezra.
opens the door and like runs out towards Hezrod and just immediately calls out,
I don't think it's a bad thing, Hezrod. It looks so much nicer. Just take a look at it.
and as she does so, she like walks up to the door to knock politely.
Oh, the door's open. Sorry, we're open for business. We don't,
It's open.
you can see that there
Sheldon
are
just like, oh,
people
okay.
seated
Go on.
inside, and as you kind of walk in, you can see Elizabeth. Go ahead and describe your character.
A copper-headed elf with flowing robes. Probably beside there's like a little fire pit. He's off to the side, closer to the bar, talking to some people. Drinking with a wine glass in his hand. And oh yes, everyone's reminding me of the abs.
Dominus.
Gorgeous abs.
Keep zooming.
Just make it bigger. It's just abs. Just
Yeah.
a wall of abs.
That's all you see in the whole place.
Abs domain.
Aberrations. Okay,
Aberrations. Okay, anyways, yes. Seeing you all walk in, he will, or is it just Fiona walking in?
Yeah.
Just Fiona. Seeing Fiona walk in, he first just greet her as a customer. Hello, welcome. Fiona! Hello.
hello. Have you remember me? And she kind of like awkwardly tugs at her hairline before remembering that she looks normal. And kind of like reaches around for the crate.
My mother asked if I could give this to you, and I just couldn't pass on an opportunity to say hello.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Oh, your mother has been a lifesaver. Honestly, both of your parents have. I don't know how to thank them enough. Come on in. Is anyone else with you? Did they come with you?
I'm surprised you haven't heard him already. And she kind of like gestures towards the entrance where I assume Hezrod is about to enter, is like stumbling.
Yeah, he's
I
sort of
can't
like-
hear a thing anymore.
Wait.
He's making his way up the stairs and like kind of yelling at people as he goes, and he walks in through the door and he's like, "Oh, they have alcohol. Oh, Goradir!" He like runs over and like gives you a huge hug, like lifts you off the ground.
As they're all kind of.
Oh, I miss you so much.
As they're all,
They wouldn't stop dying.
as they're all kind of piling in. Someone, you're getting the vehicle kind of situated. Your keen eyes notice a couple of things. As you were passing through the town, you didn't see any markers or indicators of thieves' presence, or guild presence, or house presence.
I don't know why I would be looking for those sort of things. That's
Serena is not typically fond of kind of cant notations. They don't use them like other houses. But you notice that there are markers on this house that indicate that this house is established. And the indicators note that this is a safe house for a specific sect of assassins. You would also notice that there appears to be indicators denoting to a specific part of the house, or rather, the building, this establishment, which you're not sure, but like are kind of curious as to what they are meaning. But you know that you'd have to kind of go around towards the back of the place to find out what those markers mean, if you're curious.
Or since I don't know Golridier, I'll kind of take a casual walk to head around the building.
So this is going to be a bit of an ask for you, Elizabeth, as we're doing two different things estranged. But would you rather deal with the matters inside the tavern or the matters outside of the tavern first? You're muted.
Been muted.
Sorry. I'm trying to be polite.
All right, Tom. Put us on the back burner for a second, and we'll go inside. So, Golridier and everyone getting, I believe, fish hugged. It's like a bear hug, but shark hugged? Shark hugged. Bear shark hugged by Hezrod.
Barracuda.
I would have followed in behind his road.
Okay.
Not as fast, probably not hugging.
Well, welcome. I wasn't expecting all of you here, but I'm very pleasantly surprised. Beer, we just finished a new batch.
Yes, please.
Excellent. Go over to whoever he's hired as the barkeep and ask for a round of beers for the party.
What's the character's name?
Oh, fuck.
If you want to make it up on the fly, I've got you.
Stanley.
Stanley sounds great.
His name is Stanley, and he's just a straight out local and looking for a job. Not terribly fond of the idea of scouting or soldiering, and this is paying better than that, anyways. So yeah, he gets to work. Here you go, boss. Sets out the beverages as ordered.
Would take it on one of the like a what do
Tray
you call those? Tray. I've never waitressed.
or waiter or served. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I never
Okay.
worked food service.
Well,
I
just
respect
go over to
them,
your Golridier, boy. Waitress.
He wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
But he'd bring the tray out and set it in
Hezrod
front of
takes two of
everyone.
them.
Fiona smiles before looking over at the Stanley and kind of raising her hand. Stanley, could you get a cup of tea as well? I don't think my friend really drinks. She
Sure.
kind of looks around for some.
Sure, we have herbal and we have a nice marriage black tea.
I think herbal? He seems like an herbal. Yes, herbal, please.
Okay.
We're expecting someone
yes. Sorry.
Fiona just kind of smiles and nods. Well, we met someone else actually in the city proper. A lot has actually happened since you've left. A lot. But he helped us along the way, and I think we can trust him. He's just parking the carriage right now.
Oh, well, love to meet him. I haven't met you yet. What was your name? Looks to Kel and kind of holds his hand out.
Hey there. Now, grab his hand, shake it, and say, pleasure to meet you. Name's Kel.
Oh, excellent to meet you. I hope this group hasn't bothered you too much.
Quick note.
No, well,
Sorry, quick note. The accent that he's speaking with and just the kind of vibe of Kel is familiar to Golridier, because Golridier's been here for a month. There's a group of merfolk who pass through Blackavon from the rivers to the west, and the name of that tribe is John.
Berzatus.
So you'd be
Berzatus.
familiar with them stopping in, as they seem to have been kind of readily willing to
Going
drink
up
your
and down.
beverages and
Oh, of
drink
course.
your beverages.
Wait.
They like drinking.
Great.
They drink. They're
You're from around here.
bit up the river.
Oh, well. Welcome
But
back.
we thank you. It's nice to be a bit closer to home, but it's also been nice to travel around a bit.
Fiona kind of smiles.
Kel's really modest, Goradir. He actually saved us quite a lot in our travels, which is why I've asked him to sort of join us here today as well. He has a really, really sweet pet as well.
She kind of looks around for Kiora.
I'll do like a little. Kel do a little whistle, and then he'll kind of come up out of his backpack and land kind of on the shoulders, pulled
And
up.
meow, apparently.
And
Flying
meow.
snake.
Delightful. Well, you and yours are always welcome here. Where did Alton and Malika go? Are they with you?
Oh.
Hezrod says a very colorful merfolk curse.
Fiona's face immediately drops when you say that.
Like
Did they?
several of them. He does like a Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
Oh no. He looks at you kind of with a lot of concern. Did they kind of implying like that they may have died?
No,
In your
no,
head,
no.
dear, if Fiona can do this, can she do this? She's gonna try
So
to
many
say in your head,
changes.
dear.
Yeah, you're good on every. Your abilities are back.
Perfect. She betrayed us. Unfortunately, her patron, master, whatever, is incredibly evil. And resurrected some sort of baby. It's a whole thing. We can get into it, but she turned on us.
Real quick, if you are wanting to relay it mentally, Elizabeth, I believe, has watched it, knows all of the details. So if you want to say, you kind of do like a Doctor Whoian kind of flash of your memories of this circumstance to Golradir, that's absolutely fine.
Great. That would be very great. Oh, and actually at that, Fiona would look over towards Hezrod, who's probably 2 drinks in. Hezrod, do you want to show her? Him, do you want to show Golradir?
Show Golradir what?
The baby. You can show it. She just
Maybe
immediately
everything?
pauses. It's all right. That spell was wasted on you. It's fine. And she immediately grabs a beer and starts drinking.
Oh, the brain noodle.
Yes,
Brain noodle.
Hezrod, the brain noodle.
Right,
If you
right.
could do that.
You, Golradir, are familiar with this technique, as it is one that's commonly employed by members of Mare kind of high culture, spellcasting specifically, kind of the wizardly types. Just pull the memory strand and grants it to you, allowing you to kind of access it. Normally not the case, not able to kind of read the strands. I believe without the use of the cantrip, but for the flavor purposes here, I'm fine with it. It's just relaying that the entity that's being shown to you is a religious denoter, and Golradir would be aware of what the thing that was given to Durin Belford was. It is Alustrant, the abomination, one of the 9 bastards of the gods.
I
When you
see.
put it like that, it sounds like we did a really bad thing, John.
You did, though.
We do several bad things a day.
I see. What a I believe they say this phrase around here. Pickle you're in.
Yes. Quite.
Well, I'm glad I missed that. Anyways, I do have some things to get back to. Running a tavern keeps you surprisingly busy, and surprisingly fit,
Do you
despite
need
how
any
much I
help,
drink.
Golradir? Honestly, it would be a welcome reprieve after everything. Well, you just saw it. that. It would be nice to just not do that for a moment.
Well, there's some moving upstairs, but I'm honestly sure that you're not interested in that. Oh, I should show you the progress that we have up on the 3rd floor at some point, though. I made us a little nice little room, mostly so I have somewhere quiet to sleep, but it's not really quiet right now with all the banging.
As you kind of lead them from the main section, kind of putting Stanley in charge, it's not terribly busy. It's just mid-afternoon. Most of the late-night crew of people who come in don't come in until the hammers stop, because it's annoying. But as you kind of like move that way, we segue out of that position to outside. Soma, you move over to the back end of the tavern. You see the symbol and you recognize the assassin marker immediately. Mare. These are the assassins of the High Elves, the enclave in the Mare Woods. And just as you realize this, Elizabeth, I have to switch something in the stream real quick, but as I'm doing so, feel free to introduce your actual character.
Um, so, as she's so often described, eyes as blue as ice, and hair as light as flaxen wheat. Estella, tall, slim,
It worked. That's
of
so
build.
fucking rad. Your name changed, and so
I
did
love
the
it.
token. Ah! I'm sorry. Continue.
You're a wizard, Jonathan.
He is indeed. So, clad in dark robes and a knife in hand, she emerges from the shadows. Why are you here?
Oh, you are here.
Of course.
I was traveling with some friends to meet who I believe is your spouse.
And you want to do what with my spouse exactly?
Nothing. What? This is how you greet me after after everything?
What do you want with my husband? And she closes in with and puts the dagger to your throat. I don't take kindly to anyone looking for my husband. He's not one who is sought after.
I didn't say I was looking for your husband. My friends. His friends.
Oh, them.
I feel
And
the
why
same
are
way.
you with them?
Circumstances, you know how that is. Sometimes you make new friends, right?
No, I don't know.
I guess that is true for you, But it is so convenient that you're here because I am looking for you.
And you used his friends to find me.
That's not entirely accurate. Just a convenient circumstance. I believe Fiona's mother had a delivery for your husband, and it was much easier for me to drive them here than for them to get waylaid on the road by assassins, since there seems to be so many around here.
Oh no, there's only one.
Dangerous, that one.
I would hope so. Anyway,
Do you pull the knife away from his neck? Or do you leave
no.
it there?
It's still there.
Okay.
I suppose he was looking or waiting on a delivery. And I expect you to promise that no hair will come to harm him while you are here. Is that understood?
Well, what about harm to me?
I can't promise that.
Looking down at the knife.
Are we really going to do this right here in the streets?
Not on the streets. You're behind the building. It's almost
yeah,
like she set up the lure to get you
I
into.
think the implication is that if it continues, it will go out into the street.
Oh, got it.
Rather not. I suppose I will let you go for now. But threat still stands, and then pulls the knife away.
I am very familiar with your threats and your work, as I'm sure you remember mine.
I do. You do your work well.
But I do have a, well, maybe mutual friend is not the best term, but someone we both know looking to help, looking for you for a job, and Soma will raise his bracelet.
This would indicate
Is
time.
it the Daigot? Okay. Ah. Well, it has been rather boring around here. She relaxes just a little, and work is work. I'll listen.
We can discuss it later. I suspect that my friends and Colradier's friends will notice that I am not here, or not with them, and they might start to get suspicious. So if I can leave without that knife ending up in my back, perhaps we can discuss this later.
Yes. Would you like a tour of the brewery?
I love Soma's like implicit play where he's like, I'm friends with your husband, don't murder me. by proxy. But I'm friends with
Six points away from.
As long as that tour doesn't involve, a dark basement and a garrote and a dagger, sure, since I'm guessing I'm missing whatever tour your husband has given.
Well, there is a dark basement and
I am-
dagger and a garrote, but
I'm truly surprised by that. Is
I'll let him take you to the basement.
that a promise?
All right. The two of you kind of move into the establishment. Golradier, now that the baton has been passed, has taken them upstairs and has kind of shown you around the place. He states that he does have some space for you available. Everyone. Just the one common room, unfortunately, at this time, as he's still kind of working on getting more space in the upstairs available, and the room that he and Estella have taken as their own is what will eventually be like a master suite.
Is there a horse trough outside?
There is.
Perfect.
And then while they kind of are moving about, Golradier kind of leaves you to it after showing you around the place, and will head back downstairs. At about the same time that Estella and Soma are both kind of moving in. He gives you a look like he's not dumb, but he kind of gives you a look like almost as if he's expecting a response or some kind of facial gesture to see if you are in trouble of some sort. Muted.
She just smile a little and be like, "Have you met
Soma?
Soma?"
Golradier says. They mentioned you.
Yes. He's a
At that, Soma
former
will
colleague.
make a small little bow and gesture as if to say, "I told you to stop."
Almost like unconcerned with this act of pleasantry, Golradier just like looks over his shoulder and kind of flippantly kind of throws his hand up. It says, "Stanley, the tea," and then kind of looks back to Soma. They suggested an herbal blend. If it's not to your liking, you can have the Mara black tea instead.
We've clearly traveled together long enough. They know my preferences.
I'm going to be busy for a while dealing with the package that Anne sent me. You're familiar with Fiona and the others, Estella. If you want to entertain them, that'd be fine. I'm sure she sent a bunch. She's always so over excited. These packages.
Anne is very gracious with her packages. Yes.
She
Go.
So he kind of nods and goes over to it and starts unpacking it. And like there's a lot of like for Acela kind of like highs and lows in Golradier's kind of takes on it, because some of it's like to him it's like bleh. But some of it's like okay.
Little
Yeah.
pet projects.
Yeah, like some of it's just not interesting at all, and like some of it's like, you know, stuff he's been thinking about and kind of wanting to get a hold of too. But it seems like that second category is a little less. Again, his tastes are pretty high,
Mhm.
and yeah. Anywho, the group descends back downstairs after situating yourself in the room, and you would see, as it's been described to you, Soma's inside drinking tea. I'd say, right? And Estella is helping Golradier, or
Probably at a
Sit-
table watching.
okay. So
Probably
Possibly
also
glaring at Soma.
drinking.
probably with
probably.
Soma, in all honesty.
And probably drinking tea, but the black tea.
The banging is lighter at this time once you all come back down, but it's still present.
Can Avron also be drinking tea since it's the day of Dan?
It is the Day of Dan. Good call. Yeah, there are apparently 2 teas on offer. They would have, you know, brewed 2 pots. So if you ask for tea, Stanley will just say, "Oh, I'll just bring you up the pots," and he'll bring out both of them. One, you know, very kind of ornate looking, kind of elvish teapot, and the other one seems to be very kind of mundane, kind of what is the material, like a like a sterling silver kind of teapot that appears to be where the herbal tea was coming from.
Yes, the mundane one is more in Avron's price range.
Oh,
Drink that.
you would not have been asked to pay for anything. Stanley
Yeah.
just brought the pots out.
Oh, well,
I don't know
This
if you
is-
know who owns the place.
Yeah.
yes.
By the way, this is the party's brewery, not just Goradier's little pet project after he did mushrooms in the
Yeah,
woods.
you don't pay here, buddy.
Fair.
You don't.
Jealous. Yeah, Hezrod would be like sampling all the brews. Like he doesn't really give a shit what they're called or what's in them, but he likes that there's variety.
This will actually be a fun and interesting moment because Golradier actually switches kind of a very different dynamic here. You haven't really had Golradier in like party host mode, and he is like full on party host mode. You sit down at the bar, he walks over to you, and he says, "Ezra, my friend, I've managed to get quite a lot of interesting materials to be placed here in the tavern. Let's see, what would be best suited for a good starter for you?" Kind of looking over at the shelf, walks over to a bottle. You've already had some of this before, but I think our bottle wasn't as good as this one will be. As he pulls a bottle similar to the firewater bottle that you saw before, but it looks like this one has a vintage label, and isn't it all like beat up like the last one was?
Oh, yes, this is
Or
very
almost empty.
Yeah. Or almost empty as well. He pours a single shot smoothly, sets that out in front of you, and then pours another one smoothly for himself. It looks like it's a little higher than the, you know, kind of stipulated finger of alcohol. Like he fills the cup to the brim, and then kind
He
of
says, Hezrod takes one look at it and he says, "Something is missing." Ah, yes. And they both light.
it actually catches the here. like and yeah, he
Ah!
and then
Clink.
the two of you start sampling a lot of the contents that are present here. He does do like a lot of kind of talking about the materials. It seems like his passion is kind of discussing a lot of what's kind of going on here. The detail that is kind of locked in his mind about just the beverages you're drinking for Hezrod is kind of like, it's mind-boggling. It's like a wizardry for him. It's like a
Right.
strangeness, but it's absolutely enjoyable to be here, like, engaging
Definitely.
in this.
Like for Hezrod, he normally wouldn't like care about this kind of thing from any sort of like schmuck off the street, but this is like
It's like,
Golradir.
it's like finding that it's like finding that friend in your friend group who knows a lot about like cocktails, drinks, and like beers and stuff, and
Right.
going out for a night on the town with them. Like,
Right.
only
And
the
just
night
seeing
is,
them like in their element, like really
Yes.
enjoying like what they're doing.
and like
Like Hezrod's all about that.
letting you in on these inner secrets of like how to party, like, and how to like drink and to enjoy yourself. Like, there's a moment where you're like, oh, it's so burny, and he slides over like a bowl of these small little like mushrooms, and you're like, oh, and he pops one in his mouth, and you kind of like, it seems to kind of like go perfectly and pair neatly with what you're drinking. Like, he very much like is kind of a master of like this situation. But others at the table, Cal, do you go over to the bar and drink with Hezrod and Golradir?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Then
I'm immediately
Cal,
interested.
Cal's like the little boy who's just like brought along for the ride. He's like, oh, as these two are like drinking a bunch. Cal is
I
definitely.
can party.
You're trying to keep
Party.
up. You're trying to keep up. I
Gotta
definitely.
drink like a
Hell
fish.
yeah.
This is Cal. He is a good friend. He is very, very nice to have around.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, we already shook hands. Just because I'm being played by a different person doesn't mean I'm a
I'm
different
holding up my
person.
hand again.
And yeah, so the merfolk and Golradir kind of engage at the bar. I assume Fiona, Avran, Soma, and Estella are kind of at the tea table. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Engage as you like.
Fiona and Selma are about to do a game of chess while the others party and enjoy the alcohol.
Stoma will maintain a just casual conversation with Fiona, but as he's doing so through a series of subtle gestures, will ask Estella and Thieves Cant if Golradir's friends know of her and her profession.
Wait, sorry, I missed that.
So Soma is asking in Thieves Camp, which is kind of subtle sign and like specific inflection and usage of words, also kind of like historical references or kind of like in-group references that other people don't get. And so as he's talking to Fiona, it does seem that he's having this inner conversation with Estella, asking Estella if these people know if Estella is an assassin or not.
Or that she
Which-
exists at all, like,
which-
or that specifically that this is Golradir's wife.
Which they do, because
They do, yeah, they do. So she would in turn relay that, but also scrutinize both of your playing.
Oh, that's an interesting interplay. So go ahead and everyone of you, the three of you rather, who are engaging in it, go ahead and make a dragon chess roll. So you'll use tools for Soma and for Fiona, intelligence based. So if you don't have the tools trained, you'll just make an intelligence check. And then Estella, you'll be making you'll be making a dragon chess roll as well, but you'll be using wisdom instead of intelligence. If you do not have dragon chess as a tool,
I do have it.
then dragon chess and then put in wisdom as the rolling.
Can Avra
We all can. Wow.
wisdom?
If you certainly
We came to
can.
play today.
So Soma is actually like very. You can tell, and it's actually annoying for you, Estella, because you know Soma is better than this. Like usually, it seems like he's just kind of not paying attention and is more engaged in like finding the right words to have this subtle conversation through the conversation he's having, and you can see Fiona's not caring about what they're talking about. She is very much focused and hungry on the game, and she is beating his ass. And once Soma finally realizes it, kind of just like whatever. And Avran, it's Dragon chess with that 10. You definitely don't get any of the layers that are kind of going on like here, this interplay. But you can tell Fiona's winning, and you're like, okay, awesome. Or if you would root for Soma, like I don't know who you would root for. Who are you rooting for?
I mean, mostly he's just watching, learning, seeing how it's played.
Got it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well done. You've improved so much since our first games, and Soma kind of implies that he let you win, even if that's not necessarily what the role said. That's certainly how he would try to save face.
Fiona, go ahead and make a Dragon Chess Wisdom roll.
Ooh, so just straight up wisdom.
yeah.
Cool. Oh wait.
You should also be able to do it through the
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. So as you're kind of like engaging and you finish and you're like kind of like really happy about it, like Soma, go ahead and make a deception roll. Immediately just steals your thunder and kind of like it makes it sound like he implies heavily enough for you to grasp that he is letting you win. However, more interesting interplay, Estella knows that's not true.
Yeah.
Like you saw moments during the bout where Soma was like,
yeah. So seeing that little exchange, she goes, and you've gotten worse. Looks at Soma.
It has been a very long week, and in Thieves' Cant, I'll signal it's often difficult to play two games at the same time.
Fiona misses all of this, so she immediately starts resetting the chessboard. Oh, right, well, don't let me win this time. And then goes from very beginning.
Why don't you play my friend here, and I'll gesture to Estella. Let's see how the dice treat you.
As soon as Fiona kind of sees Estella, she smiles softly. Oh, Estella, lovely to see you again. Sorry, I didn't quite recognize you. I was focused on... Well, I thought I was... Anyway, how have you been?
Excellent. Helping Goradir with his little looks kind of up and motions pet project.
She smiles at that, and as she's smiling, she starts trying to play. Do you want me to roll wisdom again?
well, if you're going to actually play, it'll just be a Dragon Chess intelligence check. Yeah.
Cool. She will just try to play.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, really excited. You're like, okay, and then there's a gambit in Dragon Chess known as a Stennin's War, which you're not familiar with, but Estella is. And typically for experienced Dragon Chess players, they'll kind of bait the gambit so that people will have to try and defend against the gambit. But since you have no idea what this means, you are just like playing your game and you leave yourself open to the gambit, which allows Estella to beat you in 4 moves.
She curses, but then immediately smiles and looks at you. Did you do that? Is there a book somewhere that I haven't read? Do you have one? Can I read it?
I'm sure I can find it for you. Mostly just learned from sitting in a room for a couple of years.
That's hilarious.
If I buy you another drink, can you show me how you did that?
Is there a book
There's
somewhere I
no
haven't read?
buying for you. I'm pretty sure the tab's covered.
It's all right.
Fiona immediately gets up and goes,
Do you need anything else? Some food or something? Just please sit with me and tell me how you did that.
I suppose I can show you. And she'd walk her through the move.
Yeah.
He's quite good at ending games swiftly.
If you're familiar with actual chess and you know what a blitzkrieg is, Stennin was a very prominent lightning and thunder cleric who had a gambit named after him in Dragon Chess because he was also a dragon rider. Anywho, well, at least a version of him was.
Oh, Stennin.
Oh, Stennin. But yeah, if you're familiar with the Blitzkrieg maneuver in chess, you're familiar with the Stennis War. It's move a pawn out forward, bishop out, queen out, and checkmate.
Realizing
Nerd.
that Stella's been drinking tea this whole time, she actually goes up to was it Steven?
Stanley.
Stanley, and asks for a fresh pot, bringing it back.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't tasting sour or anything. He asked.
Oh, not that I'm aware of.
I'll check.
actually,
I'll check it.
Stanley.
I'll check it. It's okay.
It was perfect.
No.
As he's doing so, Estella kind of like leans into him. Or sorry, Fiona leans into him.
Between you, Stanley, I'm kind of trying to impress that woman over there. Do you know what it
Yeah.
is?
Good luck. He says this. He walks over to the pot. And,
Is it possible that Soma heard that from this distance?
Yeah, and Estella probably did too. But he walks over to the pot, and you see him kind of like open up the top of the pot and kind of dab his finger on the device that's kind of holding the tea leaves, and he tastes it with his finger or with his tongue, and then he kind of says, "Oh, yeah, still plenty in there," and he kind of goes back, puts more tea leaves on top of those, kind of presses them in with a, I believe it's a pestle. The mortar is what you grind it against. Kind of
Pestle.
pushes them in with the pestle, and then kind of reseals it after pouring hot water in. So what he was implying by the sourness of the tea at the end is whether or not the leaves still had tea capability, or whether or not they had been kind of soured.
Since Soma and Estella have such a great friendship right now, Soma will, again, and thieves can't ask, "Oh, do you have some of your ingredients mixed in back there?"
No. We're here to make money.
Why am I getting X?
Sometimes you do that that way too.
Not here.
What'd you
Sure,
say,
sure.
Jonah?
I said, why am I getting X vibes from
Oh, no.
that?
No. No.
Gloridir and Estella have been married longer than I think anyone in this party has been alive. Well, with the exception of
Fair enough.
no, alive is the key word.
Yeah,
Alive.
alive.
Around is a different terminology.
Yeah.
Avran has been
True.
around for a while.
Alive.
Yeah, Avran's what, like 6 months old now?
Kitty.
It's about a
Actually,
year.
yes.
About a year.
Yeah.
He's about to get potty trained. It's fine.
Just like Shiro.
Very old soul in a very young body.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Sorry, no, souls, plural.
Souls, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
No.
Fiona just takes the pot from Stanley when it's done and like meanders back over to the two of them. As she's waiting for it though, she kind of looks over at Kel and Hezrod, who are like busy drinking.
Oh yeah, they look like they are aglow with like smiles. Like, Golridir can often be heard like describing whatever's next on the docket. At one point, making sandwiches. Yeah, he's just very much in kind of host mode, and
Just kind of calls over to Hezrod.
I don't suppose you want any tea?
Why?
Right.
She just like, goes back to the table.
Golridir kind of leans over as you kind of turn your head. So like the very first thing you see when you kind of turn back is Golridir, and he says, "To be honest, I have a pretty good idea for a tea you might want to try."
Oh,
He kind of happily kind of goes into the back and gets to work on tea making and other things. But
yeah. Hezrod would have been describing in like vivid, bombastic detail all the crazy shit they've been up to.
oh yeah, Golridir's listening, but like seems to just not be terribly concerned. Like seems to be more kind of focused on like how you're doing in the moment. Especially since you are kind of describing traumatic shit, he is really not trying to lock onto that.
Or ruin the mood.
Yeah, Hezrod's mood is like,
Yeah. Oh no. So, yeah. So like the drops are like when it seems Golridir kind of like engages more, and it's not engaging what you're talking about. It's kind of engaging you about the shit that's in front of you, and then shifting the stories to something more kind of like nostalgic for the two of you, something like more like happy times, or kind of like talking about something in and around what's going on in his life, to kind of like help you through the moment. Like, oh yeah, these damn construction workers, and kind of like, talking about how they're doing a great job, but
At one point, he would have like grabbed Goradier's arm, and he would have been like, "I never knew how difficult it was keeping everybody alive."
he says, you know what the harder part is? Making it look like it's not.
Oh.
Once you've mastered that, he says that he pours you a tea and pours Kel a tea as well, and then kind of settles that down. It smells like dank weed, like
Nice.
marijuana. Like it smells
Yeah.
like.
He does like one of these where he's like,
Oh, Goradir, can I bring a pot of that to the table?
Oh, I've only looking to a Stella. I've only got the one. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
She gives them a like, that's fucking right look. Keep that shit over there.
like he wasn't supposed to tap into the source. Look,
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Giving to these people? They're not even paying.
Yep.
Trying to be a good host.
Gotta impress my cool friends.
Yeah.
Hezron does not take tiny sips.
Oh no. Yeah. It is very much just substantively kind of earthy and very kind of warm. Not just because of the temperature of the liquid, but also because of like this kind of strange vibe that kind of fills your stomach and kind of lines your throat on the way down. The best way I can describe the process herein is it is like a hot toddy mixed with like a really just delicious black tea, right? Kind of like a strange lemony kind of like black tea. And everything feels like it's okay. It's like a healing potion that lingers.
Hell yeah, I want one.
Sorry, I made it up. It's not real.
We
I'm
need
here.
that IRL
I'm here for it though.
right now.
But yeah, enjoying the scene. Back to the table of the rest of the group. Kel, do you drink the strange tea? John? He might be muted. He is muted.
Sorry, I was hard muted. Yeah, Kel definitely down that.
You're actually familiar with it. You would note that the leaf that's being utilized is actually very, very prominent in your community. And you're pretty sure that this tea is a recipe from your tribe.
Oh, yeah, I think he'd immediately smell it and just be like, yeah, then slam it back. No, he'll say, yeah, you got blend just right.
Thank you. I have spent a lot of time trying to master that.
Nope.
I
mean, definitely proud of you.
I am going for the wrong kind of music. We've moved past
Hezron's just like
it's
he's like
ominous,
smiling.
Yeah,
like he feels so he's like full of good booze. He's with good friends. He whatever this shit is, he likes it.
Yeah,
Seeing how happy they all are and how Kel is like, talking about his homeland drink. Fiona just like smiles and looks over at him.
Can I have a cup then, Kel? I would love to, experience some of the things from your tribe.
I'll look at Fiona. Look at Golardu.
Golardu looks at Kel knowingly, like she probably won't be able to handle it, but he says, if you want to sit with us, that's perfectly fine. And pours a small amount into a cup, kind of slides that over to you, Fiona.
You don't think you've ever seen Hezron this lighthearted and like just like pure bubbly, warm happiness?
Oh, it must be good then.
And she has a sip.
Vince.
Yeah, like I said, it definitely has a warming feel, but like it lingers. And I don't know if you personally, as a person, have imbibed THC substances, but it very quickly is going to kind of
You a
hit.
cop?
Oh,
She's in Canada. It's fine
I'm in
there.
Canada. I'm
Yeah.
2 edibles deep right now. So
There you go.
Well,
absolutely.
Nice.
okay, hold on. So as someone who utilizes, you're probably not terribly familiar with the initiation of never having and then having. If you can remember, however far long ago that was,
Oh, it was a yes. I
That-
do remember.
that's happening
Yes.
now. That's
Yes.
It's me
Greta
every
immediately looks
time.
over toward the dragon chest. Do you want to try again?
Yeah, take it easy on that. Just small sips.
Oh no,
Little bit
it's
of time
fine.
in
It's
between
fine.
each
I just
sip.
need to sit down.
And she like kind of
You
walks
are.
over to the
Okay.
table again.
yeah. It definitely feels like the table is trying to get away from you. But you do catch it. Like you're not hallucinating. There's no hallucination here, but
It's
like
just
you
uncoordinated.
you definitely feel sluggish, like immediately. Like it. Yeah, it's a struggle to get to the table.
Hezrod's
Those,
like kind of watching events unfold, and he's kind of like, then he has like a paranoid moment, and he leans over, he like grabs Kel's shoulder, and he says, "Don't tell Fiona's mom."
Estella would look at Fiona and be like, you alright?
Of course. Did I tell you how pretty I think you are?
Thank you.
I'll lean into Hezrod and be like, remember my first time?
Golrier says, "Mine wasn't that long ago, but I handled it probably better than she will, to be honest."
I think so.
Oh, Kel, you've done this before. This stuff is wonderful.
Yeah, it's from my tribe.
Oh.
I've drank so much of this shit.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
you
not.
must take me to your people sometime. Show me how they really party.
Oh, you'd definitely be welcome there. Trust me.
There were some of your folks that were in here not too long ago, actually, Cal.
Any
Yeah.
names?
I'll be honest, I'm not terribly good with
Sorry,
names.
that's on the spot.
No, he says, I'll be honest, I'm not terribly great with names.
That's fine.
I do know that they came down from near the Firefinger. They said that they had some assistance dealing with a dragon up that way. Looks to Hezron, I believe it was the dragon that we had heard about on our travels around this parts the first time we came through.
Oh, it has been dealt with.
Yeah, apparently.
Both of them.
Just the red one is what the tribe.
Good. That means
Okay.
there is one I have yet to see.
Wait, the red one in the mountain?
Looks over and says, yes. They said that they had some assistance from mercenaries from Fort Fargrad?
Wonderful.
But I was under the impression that Fort Fargrad, especially our last visit, Hezrod, was completely destroyed.
Out of character note, is that the Tuesday game?
Fort Fargrad is actually this game. Fort Fargrad would be the location of.
No, that was the fort that was overrun by undead.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I was just curious if the mercenaries had something to do with the Tuesday game.
I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Was asking. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
Why would I tell you?
I thought it was wrapped up. Didn't know if it had already happened.
Yeah, Tuesday game's over. Fort Fargrad is not where they were. They were much deeper into the woods
Fair.
south of here. In fact, I will show you the exact location of where they were just now.
Well, that is one less dragon to worry about. Although I hope to witness them fight each other. That would have been glorious.
Just based on the text that just went into the chat from Fiona, Estella grabs her hand. by the wrist.
Oh no, here we go. Soma mutters.
Golradier kind of goes, no, like, it's beyond him at this point.
Yeah.
Fiona just smiles at Estella.
You had a piece of hair. Do you want me to move it? It's really far away now.
Hold on. I do want to make sure that you understand when she said she grabs your wrist, I don't think she meant gently.
Yeah, it's like a nice, like, tight.
It's vice-like. It's probably like...
I'd rather not be touched. Thank you.
Oh, that's all right. It's all right.
And then Fiona casts Mage Hand to try to brush the hair away.
She just
Golradier
sighs and lets it happen.
and then looks up from his cup and kind of just stares like at Estella and like that longing kind of like look, and he just says in Elvish, like he just mouths the words, I'm sorry.
Once again, in Thieves' Cant, Soma will convey to Estella, if your husband could survive traveling with these people, what could I possibly do to him?
She just shakes her head, and back in Thieves' Cant just says, I suppose you're right.
Mrs. Stella, can I have my hand back, please?
Yes, let it go.
Finally just throws it back in her face.
Perhaps now would be a good time for us to step outside to discuss business.
Fiona,
Yes.
are you
Why
drunk?
you all are here?
But the game is not done, Soma.
And she points. To the
Why don't
PC.
you play with what was it, Avran?
No, I am not one for these games.
I'm
don't
sure
you
Fiona
let
could
Fiona
teach you.
teach
Yeah.
you?
The best way to learn is to...
Hold on.
The best way...
Hold on, sorry. Avran, that condescending tone of her basically dismissing you and basically kind of causing you to feel like, you're not in the in-group is a flashback moment. And you feel like you're 11. You're not sure when, where, but you know that the woman who said it to you in your memory in that way was your mother.
Well,
And then like it's just kind of like a momentary but by the time you kind of like get through it, Stella and Soma have already left you to suffer Fiona's chess play.
I don't know what game you're going to know how to play afterwards, but...
I would say though, like Fiona actually kind of smiles at Avran. She did all of that turmoil or whatever or conflict is lost on her completely, and she just kind of smiles.
All right, Avran. Do you want to be the red dragon or the black dragon? Because I'm already the black dragon, so you're the red dragon.
Oh, I will be the red dragon.
Good.
It just starts playing with him.
You two slip outside. Golradier to Kel's statement again. Quick note: I don't typically read the chats. I'm usually switching around and stuff, but now is a unique time. I do see it here though. Golradier says absolutely fine. They typically stop in at least once every other 6 day. Shouldn't be an issue. Looks over to Hezrod. You're kind of heading up in and around that area anyway, I'm assuming. Isn't that right, Hezrod? Did you come here to deal with any problems?
Muted.
You're referring to the hag.
I know it weighs heavily on you, and you haven't passed
Yes.
through here, so...
No.
We, well, he reaches into his armor and pulls out the scroll, and he says, I have acquired a way to undo my mistake. I intend to do so now that I'm back.
I understand your desire to do so. And I won't try to stop you from going through with it. But I will let you know that that's the tip of the scroll. Powerful magic like this can have consequences. If you bring her back, the way we found her, she was in a maddened state. She spent several days, month even, in whatever afterlife she was allowed to slip into after you killed her. Who's to say what she will be when she comes back? I want you to take these thoughts into consideration, Hezrod, before you act on this. Because what you hold there is very powerful magic that was laid out onto that paper for purpose. The prayers inside of it were made to bring back someone the scroll reader cares about. And I know you care about what you did and how it was wrong. However, do you even know her? Take the time to think with it. Yeah, he says that he pours you another cup of the tea. I'm sure whatever choice she'll come to make will be the right one for you.
Is there like access to the roof?
No. I don't know if you saw the picture, but the roofs are kind of.
That's fair. I wasn't sure if like the first story roof,
No,
not like the top roof.
but there's a coast, so you can just kind of go hop out onto the coast. It'd probably be really nice to do so, anyways, at night.
Oh, not stated or seen in the pictures that I've shared in chat. There are like large openable windows in the back where like the brewery vats are. So he could just go through, see the vats, the brewing process, and then go out to the coast.
Golradier's not stupid. Golradier would not allow Hezrod into the vat rooms. Unless Golradier's also with him.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Because merfolk like swimming, and a merfolk could fit in the vat.
Vat very, very hot.
I don't think Hezrod would care.
No, but I think
mean, he does have an affinity for fire, so
yeah, I think like looking out over the water and a little bit of solitude sounds pretty nice.
Okay. Well, you would step out and you would see in shadow, it looks like Soma and Estella are talking. We're going to cut to that conversation now to get it kind of out of the way. You step. Go ahead.
I will say passive perception 22 and the observant feat.
They're not talking in a language you're going to understand.
That's fair.
It's basically going to sound like they're talking about history lessons and like old stories. It just sounds like two friends catching up.
Yeah, he doesn't understand it. Is very intoxicated.
Yeah.
Wanders on down to the dock or the shore, like kind of sits in the water.
Still shifting over to them. Go ahead and have your dialogue.
wanted to talk.
That was something in there.
Indeed, I told him to keep that for paying patrons only, but I
Quite the
suppose
generous
there-
host.
always has been.
As I said, I've been asked to find you for a job, and looking around here, I'm guessing you're not retired.
Absolutely not. Honestly, the banging is the least of my problems.
Someone will start to make a joke, but then stop.
Hilarious.
I don't know. I don't know what the job is, only that it requires both of our opposing skill sets, apparently, and it has been requested that I find you in return to knock.
Do we know the target?
I only know that it's at least complicated enough that the both of us need to be involved, and as you know, those usually pay quite well.
So it's political then.
Isn't everything a knock?
Fair game. It's true. Between the houses and honestly everything else.
I don't
It's a city,
know.
after all.
I don't know when we'll make it back there, since your husband's friends seem to have quite a predilection for side trips. So I'm not sure if there's other things they wish to do out here, but if you and your husband could be convinced to come along.
Gordy is far too busy with the brewery to be traveling. He's here, safe.
And you are bored.
Absolutely. Do you really think that there's much work out here? Kind of motions to the city that's being slowly revitalized, or town that's being revitalized.
From what I remember of you, the number of employment opportunities doesn't limit you.
Fair play. And I suppose you're also bored since you're traveling.
You know how it is. Sometimes the job chooses you, and sometimes you choose the job. But that does, Soma will laugh a little bitterly, bring up an important question. You asked about my motives, and you wouldn't happen to have misplaced one of my tokens, would you have? Given it to somebody looking for revenge, a plot?
You know, I don't give them out.
Soma
I don't trust people.
I remember that too, but it was somebody that I made the mistake of trusting, and despite our unique friendship, I did at least trust you enough to give them to you, and one of them found its way into the hands of somebody that was looking to remove me from the board.
And I assume they were an elf, and that's why you're asking if it was me?
Certainly a coincidence.
Hilarious.
I will take you at your word, but you know that we don't survive long in our chosen professions if we're not suspicious.
I trust you not to trust me, just as you trust me to not trust you.
The perfect arrangement.
Indeed.
I don't particularly care what sort of cover story you come up with. If you wish to come along, perhaps Golradier sends you to keep an eye on his friends while he's busy with the tavern. Perhaps there's some sort of family friend that I passed a message on back from Nock that needs to speak with you, but
You assume I needed an excuse?
I'm less concerned about you and your husband as I am the rest of the group. They know enough of my circumstances, but I'm not sure how much they truly know of yours.
I suppose I could pick a few things up that Anne forgot to give us.
She was quite scattered when packing that up and sending Fiona. That sounds plausible enough.
Indeed, though she hasn't forgotten anything in the last several packages. In fact, she's added many a thing, for better or worse.
That tea?
No, those were the river folk.
I can see that, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That tracks with his whole vibe. Kel's
Yeah.
It totally does.
Just yeah. But no, mostly various liquors. I was hoping this would be more of a brewery and another place to sell the marish wine, but liquor's very popular around here. They haven't had it in a little bit.
And perhaps your own services, and Soma will gesture towards the assassin's marker in the direction of it.
Hasn't been needed quite as much, but there, you know, business is business.
Well,
I don't share it.
I'm sure you still remember the dance, and Soma will kind of imply the jobs that we've done before, and the synchronized kind of stabbing, we'll say. But I can assure you that there will be plenty of opportunities to ply your trade if you come with these folk.
I suppose I'll go. Better be interesting, though, otherwise I will return.
If there is one thing that I can say about this group, interesting. In the past 7 days, I've gone from barely leaving the city to fighting a dragon, a fiend full of some kind of anti-magic ooze. The head of a house outed me to the party. They barely cared. We went into a tomb that we were stuck in for 3 days, and I had to make a deal with an extraplanar frog and a demon prince. So I don't think it will be anywhere near as boring as being trapped here.
That sounds rather interesting. I'm in.
Sold.
Sounds great.
Let us.
So what? We went from having 2 clerics to 2 warlocks to 2 rogues.
Two upstanding citizens. What are you talking about?
2 clerics, 2
We're
warlocks,
both
2 absolute
nobles.
professionals.
2 rogues.
Well, I suppose we should return before they get too suspicious.
Yeah, if you pop back in, Hezrod has disappeared. You can see him. I mean, you would have saw him come out and then move over to the coast. You'd see Avran's probably still seated at the table with Fiona. It looks more or less like Avran's just being favorable based on the texts. Like he's just okay. She seems to be out of her element for whatever reason. He's just being kind. Is that the vibe I'm picking up? Is that right, Jonah?
Yeah.
I also just
Yeah.
want to underscore warm butternuts.
Yep.
Listen, they will sell super well, okay?
Just sprinkle some sugar on there.
And Cal and Golridy are hitting it off quite well. Looks like the 2 of them are just chatting. And Cal appears to be kind of passing, looks over at the group as well. You all reconvene. Golridy kind of gives Estella a look. Like, he knows. He gets it. He kind of didn't know what was happening to start with. Obviously understood there was something happening, but now he understands.
Yeah. All right. Well, how long will you all be staying here? Or have you figured that out? She says to the group.
I have no clue.
You're just here to enjoy the time, aren't you, Avran?
Indeed.
Golridy will say, I think the main person you would want to ask is Hezrod. I think he's currently working through some things in his mind.
Yeah. I would
And he's kinda had
suggest
a rough go.
I would suggest we wait to ask him until morning when perhaps both the drink and the trauma have worked themselves out a little bit.
Might need more than a day for the trauma, just based on the 2 seconds that
And
things that
to
you
be fair,
told me.
based on his consumption, it might take more than a day for the alcohol too.
Well, I'm sure he's not done if Goridir has anything to do with it.
Hmm.
Passes a look over to Goridir.
Well, unfortunately, we sit in a Sereda house controlled town, so due to the fact that Day of Dan is kind of a conclusion point for the week, I dare say I must close up shop early, as is normally the case. Looking to Kel and everyone and the group. Not a lot of people pass through. Again, it was the Day of Dan, as noted, which is a holy day. It's the end of the 6th day. It's kind of when people do their worship and nonsense. And he'll kind of close up shop. If Hezrod's probably going to be sleeping out in the trough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Avran probably helps Fiona in her current state, who's probably carrying several articles of food with her.
You might even like wander into like a fish house and like pass out with like a handful of half-eaten fish.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, you could definitely there's a lot of fisheries along the coast as well. So yeah, it's not impossible. But like I was saying, Fiona's probably gathered a bunch of items and is, as Avran's leading her away, probably reaching for more. Like, this will go great with this kind of situation. And then Kel, are you going up to the room or are you popping back outside? Like, again, the lake is probably not bad for sleeping. Like,
Yeah, honestly, I might go hang out by the lake and just
okay,
strum on the
you'd probably
instrument.
See Hezrod after acquiring his ill-gotten gains, fish-wise.
I mean, I'll ask him if he wants. If you all right, you all right, buddy? No, okay.
My heart is heavy. And my head feels weird.
My little after effect. You want company or you need some time?
You are my friend. You are always welcome.
All right, I'll hang out with him.
Munching on the fish, kind of
Munching on the fish.
gesture towards the pile, and Kel, it looks like he's consuming the bass, the lake bass that are kind of on offer there.
Let us sit on the dock and watch the sunset.
Sounds good to me.
If you don't engage in too much dialogue beyond that, or do you?
No, he's still mostly like working things out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just be playing an instrument, smoking.
That's very nice. That's a very nice scene.
Yeah, you just basically the vibe is very chill, but like the kind of thought process in Hezrod's mind kind of keeps replaying what Golradir had said. Like, and every so often probably kind of reaches down and touches the scroll in the bag, kind of just anxiously, almost like thinking on it. Soma, I assume you kind of go right to bed. It was a long drive for you. I don't know if you've ever driven a good amount of time, but it's taxing. Cool. And Estella, you make it back up to the master suite. And Golradir, not long after, makes it up there with you in Elvish, says, "Going back to the city, aren't you?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems your friends have things to do in the city that I would be helpful with.
I could tell. You've described him to me before. Ren, was it?
Yes. He goes by that.
Well, you always came back on time when you went to go play with him, so I suppose it won't be too bad. Just, if you end up running long, I made sure to get something for us. And he kind of holds his hands up and opens a silk kind of piece of fabric. Inside there are two jade stones sitting next to each other, and he takes one out and hands it over to you. If you speak our surname, it will activate it, and I will know, and we can talk.
You've always been the clever one, haven't you?
I picked them up and knock and was waiting for a second for you to run off again before I gave it to you. I don't want to be overbearing, but I also don't want to chase you across the world again.
And I would rather you stay put.
I will, so long as you tell me where you're at.
I will try to keep you informed this time.
As is usually the case when it comes to a Golradir and a Stella kind of time, trancing is happens, other things happen, very much just kind of focused on the moment, as elves are often like to do. And after a long evening of everyone kind of just relaxing, you all wake up with a very different sense of being. Like it's almost like weights were kind of just left in the beds as you kind of get up. Fiona, especially so. Like last night was a blur, and like as you're kind of rising up from bed, it's like awesome. Avran,
Why is there half a loaf of bread in bed with me? Like, why am I cuddling?
yeah, why am I cuddling this baguette? I don't understand. Avran, you had the most calming kind of sleep that you've had in a while. Obviously,
Yes.
not substance involved or anything, but when you first started going to sleep, there was kind of like a concern, like what was that flash? Like, what was that feeling? Like, what was I remembering? But then, as you're kind of coddling Fiona and kind of getting her into, a comfortable sleeping arrangement with her baguette boyfriend, you kind of realize that this is where you're kind of meant to be. Like, you're a holy swordsman, and you're protecting your friends, these people here with you. And you kind of, with knowledge, you're able to sleep really well.
Out of curiosity, Fiona, what's your baguette boyfriend's name?
Clearly it's none of your fucking business.
It's a weird ass long name. Is that Elvish? Abyssal?
Anywho,
I think it's that.
so sleep well enough, especially since the prospect of a new job is on the horizon. And Hezrod sleeping probably right on the shore, to be honest.
Yeah, he looks like a dead guy who washed up on the beach.
Cal as well, like the two of you, like Cal's so close to home, and hearing that the tribe is still doing well and making trips up this way, it's good. It's good to have good news, and it's good to be kind of moved beyond something so kind of traumatizing. That said, Hezrod, as you kind of make your way down to the main room, Golradier is present. There's another person on staff who you haven't met, a young woman who is apparently going through kind of like a mourning process for the tavern. The people outside have already started kind of like getting their tools ready for the work at hand. And it looks like there's a very large kind of sheet with something underneath it being kind of moved over to the tavern by carriage. And when Golradier kind of sees that coming up, he very much goes outside and starts kind of like directing people regarding whatever's under this sheet. But inside, the lady serves you whatever breakfast you want. And as other people kind of fill in, character-wise, however you want to kind of splay in, whoever would be next up on the docket kind of coming into the tavern.
As Soma probably was one of the few other than Avran that was not intoxicated and is generally a light sleeper, he will probably be the next one down.
Hezrod, you got a simple breakfast, some fish, and
Cannibalism!
had a lot of time to think about stuff.
There is always a bigger fish, Soma.
There is always a bigger fish.
There
That
certainly
bigger
was in the
fish
tomb.
is me.
I guess that tomb fish was also problematic. Regardless, Golradier mentioned that you had potentially other business in this area.
Yes, there are a few things I must attend to before I decide whether or not that is right.
If I can facilitate any of that, please let me know.
Thank you. I was not sure if I could trust you when first we met, but it seems you have proved yourself a valuable ally, and
I did, of course, save you from that mirror.
a good friend. If there is anything I can help you with, please let me know.
I appreciate that, and I will certainly keep that in mind. But at the moment, at least, I am still looking for things that I may need help with eventually.
Fiona kind of like stumbles down the stairs at this point. And she has like kind of like folded loaf of bread under her arms, and she's just kind of like rubbing her forehead. Does anyone know whose bread this is? I don't
Wow,
quite
you
remember the evening.
you took those 2 dragon chess losses very hard, suggesting that I actually won that game.
And also that Avran won as well.
No, sorry, then 3
3
games. It was a tough night for you
I
last
think
night.
it,
We're losing those 3 games.
By the look of
You gotta
those
case
bite
the
marks, by the look
Honestly,
of those
I
bite
mean-
marks, it looks like it's yours.
Right, but all I remember is being really sort of floaty and hungry.
Yes.
Hell, what the hell is in that tea?
Plenty of good things. I would say. That is definitely your bread.
She just kind of scratches
Watched
the
you
back
bake
of
it myself.
she just scratches the back of her head and then like makes a disgusted face. Why is there butter on my neck?
I told you to
And
take
just,
steps.
like, looks so disappointed in herself before taking a seat.
Would you like me to dress that up for you?
That was also yours,
Oh,
Fiona.
Just
I imagine that Cal's like, packing his pipe with tobacco, and he's like getting ready to light it, and he looks over at Fiona. I told you to take sips.
Yeah.
lighting it with the flint and tinder, and just like chill.
We'll start pulling out little pieces of disguise equipment.
You
I
also-
I can dress it up if that would, ease
You
things
also-
for you this morning.
You have some nuts in your hair.
Baguette,
you know, just kind of sighs deeply. It's all right. I don't want to know, but I think it was a happy night. Is everyone else okay? She kind of looks around.
Kind of snapping the scene outside. Stella, you're kind of up in
Yeah.
the master suite's balcony, kind of looking down at what Golridir is kind of doing. You can see that the thing that is covered in the sheet happens to be from a glass blower up in Palma. And it's one of the large stained glass windows with the holy symbols being brought in. And he is very focused. Golridir is absolutely going to be engaging with the construction workers for the better part of the morning. But kind of seeing him happy and then kind of turning back and looking into the room where you've prepared your gear for travel.
Start heading downstairs to meet with the others. Good morning. Looks to Fiona. Looks like you've rejuvenated.
She kind of like pulls a piece of crust out of her ear. If you could call it that. Do you happen to have a bath or somewhere? I know your husband is, how do I phrase this? He cares about that sort of thing, right?
He does. In fact, on the second floor, in the middle, they're not quite done yet. There is a bath. Looks over to the fire. It should be warm by now.
I don't care if it's ice cold at this point. I just need to get the butter out of my cheeks. And she just starts walking upstairs.
Hezrod's gonna finish his breakfast, and then what is there like a garden or something in the back, like some sort of secluded area?
No,
Probably.
I wouldn't say like a garden. I don't think
Yeah.
that's really come to fruition yet. If that is something on
Like
the
the
docket.
start of one.
An area that's
Are
been
some of
cordoned
the-
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are some of the buildings in town still abandoned?
No.
Okay.
No. The town is definitely flourishing.
Does the church have a courtyard?
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna finish his breakfast and he's gonna go there.
Okay. You ask for
If anybody wants to, he's not going to ask anybody to come with him, but if he's not going to make any effort to like conceal his leaving.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to follow or come with him, that's fine. But he's not really like sharing his intentions with anybody.
I'll go keep an eye on him. He seems a little distressed still this morning, and we had a good talk before the rest came down. But before I go after him, I guess I still have my apologies. Everybody, I asked for us to see if we could have a little extra assistance since we are lesser than we had been. And with that, Soma will follow Hezrod at quite a distance, just enough to keep an eye on him, but not enough to disturb him.
So just as a heads up, John, he's going to go find somewhere to cast Commune.
Go ahead and click the spell out for me. Should be able to just click the spell and drop the description.
Oh, fuck. Everyone wants to see that. Fuck.
Well, like I said, he wouldn't make his intentions known.
Yeah.
He wouldn't share that with anybody.
Shit.
Okay, so give me 3 questions.
Yeah, he's going to cast it as a ritual. But his first question, like, does he need to explain himself to this deity, or is this thing, quote unquote? Well, it says it's not omniscient.
It's also not the deity; it's a divine proxy.
Right. So, which direction from where they currently are is this hag buried? Where did that encounter happen?
You should read your spell again.
Yes or no
Has to be
questions.
yes or no.
Chat.
No, I'm asking because I've already been there. So Hezrod would know which direction this was.
Sure, it's just south of here. It's
Okay. He says to this deity, "There is a hag that I slew that is buried to the south of here. I intend to resurrect it. Should I?"
no. But also yes. The answer would be unclear.
Right.
Ooh, an 8-ball.
Will this ease the burden on my heart?
No.
Will this cause more trouble for my friends and I?
Yes.
He's looking at this thing like mildly annoyed.
Oh no, there's no thing that you're seeing. It's just a voice.
Well, he's looking off into space, mildly annoyed.
Probably at the sun, because you would know by this point the representation of your deity, Atavius, is the sun.
I assume someone just sees this.
You just stare at the sun.
No, yeah, Hezrod's like glaring angrily at the sun.
Jesus.
Gordir's gonna be deaf. Hezrod's gonna be blind.
Yeah, so that's the spell.
You can cast it again, but then there's 25% chance that after the first, like they don't want to deal with you anymore.
Right. So, hold on a second. Let me just read the spell again. 25% chance that. Oh, okay. Yeah, he resets the ritual and casts it again.
Okay, rolling the 25% chance here on my side. All right. So yeah, as you kind of finalize the ritual and kind of cast the spell, now kind of covering this area with incense and holy water just been splayed about in the ritual, you realize that as you kind of link for that connection, it doesn't seem to take.
He gathers up all the components and heads back to the bar.
Okay.
Tama will move at a faster rate to get back before Hezrod returns, so he doesn't come in after
Like,
him if it's suspicious.
If you've ever seen somebody walking down the street who just has a lot on their mind, that's like Hezrod's whole. He's like completely oblivious to anything happening around him. He might run into things.
Yeah.
It's standard.
This ritual that you saw here, Soma, is strange. You know that spellcraft was about, but you don't know what the result was because you did not hear the deity, or the proxy rather.
I'm
Okay.
mostly just keeping an eye to make sure that he wasn't going to go off on his own and do something reckless after being upset again this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. While that's all happening, is Avran, Kel, or is anybody else doing anything besides getting ready to go?
Just everyone would just make a prayer of thanks to the being that.
Well, you would know that the Church of Atavius is the church that's present here in the city, or the town rather.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, so he would head there then.
go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Perception.
And Soma, go ahead and make me a stealth check.
24.
Let me actually get my character sheet back up since apparently I closed it.
Okay. So you do see Soma kind of lurking around, but it seems like he very quickly kind of inconspicuously just blends with the scenario. Looks like he's just walking around. You don't know why he's around here. But you then kind of make your way into and around the church. You can see that Hezrod's out in the courtyard, not too far from where you think you saw Soma as well. But then you kind of head into the church, or do you want to go in and engage with them at all?
I'm pretty sure Hezrod's doing his thing.
Yeah.
It's
And
not going to bother him.
So Soma, then you two are just kind of wandering about the town doing their own things. You're doing your own thing. And so you go inside, and you would meet with the priest there. The priest who, if you remember, was the individual who is a dragonborn, who has the symbol of Soland, the god of dragonkind, on her chest, even though she is a representative of the Church of Atavius here in this town of Land's End. And she says, "Oh, I don't know if it was you typing into the mic live so loud." Says, "I don't know if it was you, but someone killed that dragon and stopped the squabbling. So if it wasn't you, fine. If it was you, also fine." Meanders over to the incense and starts kind of performing a space for you to pray.
As much as I would love to take credit for that beast's demise, it was not me. I believe it was some mercenaries.
Well,
from Fort Fargard.
Fort Fargard fell. Mercenaries.
I thought so as well, but it seems it may be doing better.
Well, great. I wonder what house got a hold of it this time. I know it wasn't Serena.
I guess we'll see once we go past that way, if we do.
Kind of makes the space ready for you and kind of gives you a curt bow as she kind of moves away from your space to allow you to kind of perform your prayers.
Yes.
I'm assuming these are not spellcasting prayers?
No, just normal. I don't have any spells that can commune.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna offer thanks to, I don't know her name, but just offer thanks that she was the one who risked her entirety to just save me.
Yeah, no replies. That's not how gods work. You can imagine the conversation in your head, if you want, regular religion, but
yeah.
However you want to engage with that, that's fine. Cool. Moving all right along. Everybody kind of gathers back at the tavern after rituals are performed and everything. And the auto carriage has been made ready for, any kind of travel that would need to be done. But the group hasn't really decided on where they're going next. If it is to the cave with the hag, the carriage won't really help there because it's kind of set inside of a cliff down the lake a bit and kind of need a boat out that way.
I
We're not.
figured we
We're
were
not
doing
going.
like
We're not going there.
Okay.
I figured we were doing here and back.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody kind of tosses their stuff back into the auto carriage then?
So where are we off to?
No.
Not.
Back to Knock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Could I drive?
Could you drive?
Soma? Could I drive this?
I did want to try to
construction?
do a little hunt outside to see if I can bring something back for them to cook at the tavern.
Absolutely. Yeah, with the Outlander background, you're able to kind of gather some food for approximately 6 people, and kind of, muster it, leave it for Golridir as kind of a repayment.
Here's a boar. I just slap it on the ground before the tavern and walk out.
Golridir says you could at least hang it. So-
I just salute and walk out.
he annoyedly drops down with his beefy abs.
I suppose so, Avran. Just be careful.
So before
Oh.
hitting the road, Hezrod goes and he gives Golridir a hug, but this is a much softer, more sincere hug, and it's like a comforting hug for Hezrod. And he says to Golridir, "I consulted a divine being, and have decided that returning that hag to life would only cause more problems."
Great. I'm working on this window. He says, and he kind of gestures to it, and you would see that the window that's going in today is the window that it's the symbol of Ashtar, good and evil. And he kind of looks to you and says, I understand wanting some sort of direct answer to your questions. I really get that. I used to think that way a lot. And nowadays, I don't really have that same kind of mentality, with the exception of one specific person I have to know everything about. I would say that if you feel like you have to have an answer in that way, it'll lock you up. It'll keep you from doing just about anything. But if you have a means of getting the answer quickly, then so much the better. If not, though, sometimes the best way to fake a sense of confidence is to just make a choice and go with it. Hell or high water. And then learn from your mistakes. And kind of pulls a small little sackcloth and hands it to you from his pocket. Don't tell Estella. And then turns a box away. You kind of look into it, and you see Kel kind of look over and go, and you recognize it's the tea, ready to be made, but not currently made.
Kel just nods. He's just like,
She's gonna hand him his ass when she gets back.
Kel's like,
Before Golridir completely goes back,
Oh, okay.
Fiona would kind of call out to him.
Golridir, I know you're very well versed in religion, and I'm just curious. Has the Grey Order ever come across your knowledge?
I mean, I'm aware of who the Grey Order are, and according to reports, they dealt with the problem that the hands, all of the hands.
Right.
Yeah, but there's really no other knowledge besides that. What's your interest in them?
Well, you see, when we escaped that horrific shrine, a red comet struck it, and we were led to believe this was a signal from the Grey Order.
Oh,
Or was the signal then?
no. According to the stories, if I understand what you're saying correctly, that wasn't a signal. That was a member of the Grey Order. The one known as the
Oh.
Undying Soldier.
Oh.
The Undying Soldier. And she kind of looks over to Avran. What do you know about this person?
Not much, I'll be honest. I know he's a Bicavarian, from Parnak, but not much more than that. I would say
Parnak.
there's probably records concerning the Undying Soldier in the libraries at Nock, if you're interested in researching that.
I am indeed. Thank you very much, Dorodia.
Sure, sorry I wasn't able to give you any more information, but I will say this, knowing that they are somehow involved in what you've done here does put my heart at ease a bit. Especially after what Hezrod showed me.
Yes, we have quite a few loose ends to tie up, it would seem.
Good luck with
well,
that.
on that...
Thank you. She kind of like turns back.
He just leaves.
Yeah.
He's got
Oh my God.
glass windows to put in.
How far away is Parnak, by the way?
So, great question. We can look at the mappy maps.
To the map!
Zoomy zoom. All right. So you're
So-
currently in the Broken Blade Coast on the eastern side of Osiria, topmost province, and Osiria is also the name of the triumvirate or three king rule in that region. To the south of you is Talania, which is the region of the Elves. It's the only place in the entirety of the world, save one other place, where there's a city of elves, Talania, the great city of elves. The best way to travel through would be to head to the Mudis region and then move across the, I can't remember the name of this expanse. I'll look it up in my notes later if it actually comes to pass. And then from that point, move through Atele and probably past this region, not entering into Sario, entering the Stormloft Kingdom of Parnak. Parnak is an empire, by the way. It's also a province. And then once there, you're effectively in Parnak. Bicavaria is where Gloria just stated this warrior came from, but you would assume that the Grey Order isn't.
Okay. My other question is now that I'm seeing the map, Tessa was also mentioned in terms of the Grey Sword. So in terms of like where Fiona might want to go next, her two leads are Parnak and Tessa's here, right?
Yeah. Well, Tessa's this region. It's actually kind of starts here in this area and kind of moves through. So the two main cities of Tessa are White Bay and Angdanuk. And Angdanuk is also the largest mountain in the entirety of ENA, also the entirety of Urz, the world. Angdanuk is also the greatest dwarvish city in all of the world. Angdanuk is also a ley line to the elemental plane of Earth. Angdanuk is also the name of the primordial of Earth that is said to have created the dwarves.
Right. Because I remember that Tessa was sort of a lead for the Dwarven. Okay. With that in mind, approximately, do we think that Parnak would be a longer travel or a shorter travel?
These are all going to be months of journeying.
Oof.
Either way you go about it.
Oof.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So
clarification question.
by Raven, if you were moving to Parnak and you were just trying to get to the northernmost point, it's about 3,114 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was not the only time Parnak was mentioned.
That's
It was also
true.
mentioned in relation to the Ithal Blackblade Elvish Rune Sword, right?
Well,
Aaron, checking
in
to see
Nock,
how
we
far it
might be
is.
able to find somebody who has access to a magic portal and can send us there.
Ooh, straight to Parnak.
So far, you
Um,
haven't made a lot of high-profile friends, so
Actually,
Learn some use
we
that heroes of the
have.
library.
We can definitely go back to Knock and like talk about it as a party, but Fiona's got her eyes set on either Parnek or Tessa. We can definitely see like if other people's paths lead them there or not.
Avron has made a high class friend-ish.
John,
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of the spell sending,
Yeah.
define familiar.
And someone you have engaged with in physical conversation.
Okay, well, would that include one Gideon Corso?
I would say no, because you didn't actually engage with him. Actually, yeah, you can send to Gideon Corso, I suppose.
Good to know. At the next dawn, I will prepare this spell.
Okay.
When we get back to Knock, Avron actually has to accept a tea date with Megan.
My brother and Atavius, what are you doing?
We're gonna see if we can make some high value or high class.
I just want to underscore the fact
What
that
the fuck, Avrin? No!
she's with the Montulace, which
Exactly.
are associated with Duran, who you just got out from under the thumb of.
Yep.
He's like, shit, I don't care.
He's like, it's
Do
musical.
you make this known to the party?
Jonah's like, it's
Nope.
musical chairs. I'm sorry. Let's change up. You gotta switch every session.
You better not make it known to the party.
No,
Yeah.
I suspect the end result is that Jijo will be replacing Jonah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Jijo will be playing Avran.
Jijo will be playing Avron next week, and
Yeah.
I will be playing a spectator.
I do like the chat's commentary. Brent in the chat says there is an awesome paladin boy in Munio. If you go to a town called Banser, he also has a name that starts with an R, so he's amazing.
Was it Raladin?
No. He's a Raladin. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Raladin.
Yeah,
I've heard he's pretty cool.
yeah. Brooklyn's all right.
Yeah. He's a
Brooklyn to Banser.
nice lad.
Good kid.
Good lad.
Good servant of the Phoenix. We love him. Anywho, you folks are traveling. Oh, he also can take the most fall damage. That is true. You are heading to no sea in Parnek. But other than that, everything's gold. That said, you travel back through Sindo. Enough fuel in the vehicle to get you through to Knock without issue. Passing by the mine of Dunwater, through the Dunwater Pass, and on to Knock. You're there in the better part of the day. You're right back at Knock. Change the music to a little more city kind of esque. Really nothing happens along the road. This road is completely cleared.
How long does the trip take?
5 hours. I'll be
Okay.
honest. I mean, I would say it's about 80 miles, or yeah, about 80 or so miles, and you're moving on average, like in the past, probably 15 miles per hour. So 80 divided by 15, yeah, about 5 hours.
That's fine. Just let me know when we've reached the next dawn.
Okay, so you're right back in Knock, and moving you back onto the. Oh, I have 2 Knocks because I have the other Knock. Okay.
The other.
Yeah, so there was the Tuesday game. So I have that Knock for a reference because there was a bit more. You have certain things that are revealed to you, and they had certain things that
Gotcha.
were revealed to them.
Gotcha.
And
No,
so,
I thought it was the
We
upside
got
down.
around.
I
yeah,
thought it was the upside down.
there was an auto carriage chase in that game.
Nice.
I'll fuck up my car.
Here we go.
That said, you
Don't
arrive.
get an auto carriage chase then.
Or do. That shit's wrong.
It was pretty fun.
You arrive back in the city. On the again, you left out the western side. You'd be re-entering the western side at the Steel Magic Divide. Arriving back into the city, you're driving, so you're in control. Sama, where are you wanting to take them?
Did we bring back wine, by the way?
Assuredly so.
Yeah, let's
Great.
head back to the Elm Woods. And as we're going there, someone will suggest that we take a few days for him to try to find out some more information about some of the things that we learned in the tomb. Since, as I mentioned, the game has become a little more political, so to speak, and we need to be very careful.
Okay.
Yeah, Fiona would sort of tentatively bring up her thoughts about maybe heading to Parnak, but will quickly mention that she wants to do a bit more research about both Parnak and Tessa before she says anything more. Oh, but sorry, she would mention the stuff that we already know. Like she would mention that Tessa, there might be like a dwarvish crafter familiar with what was going on down in that tomb. Also Greysword. And then she would mention that Parnak had something to do with the Undying Soldier and the Grey Order and Ithal.
It may be wise to find a way to get messages back and forth, because even with this auto carriage, the trip will take quite a while.
Understood. Well, hopefully, like I said, there's some more research that can be done. Perhaps some sort of circle spell can be cast to transport us more easily. I'm not quite sure if I'm capable of that, but and she'll kind of again pause. Perhaps Corrigan knows someone. I'll look into it once we get back to Nock.
Lauren. So when you get back to the Elm Woods and drop everyone off, I know that at that point when you kind of get a moment, Soma, is that when you
Yeah.
Okay. The reply back, you hear the voice. He says, "Oh, I didn't expect you so soon. Found her that quick, huh?"
Yes.
No, sorry. Talking to Tom. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I am efficient when needed.
Okay. Great. When do you want to set up a meet? I'm in the office right now.
Soma will look over at Estella, kind of silently asking if now is acceptable.
She'd nod and kind of do this to be like,
The sooner the better.
yeah,
Great. Head on over.
show me the way.
Fiona, Avran, Hezrod, Cal, this happens after you're kind of displaced and put into the Elm Woods. Soma and Acela drive off without you after they drop you off. You
And
said
the wine.
Yeah, oh, they do take the wine, sorry.
Yeah. Here, take this in. Yum.
Fiona, you said you were going to take and head over to the library. Are you doing so by trolley? Are you doing so by Skyrail? How are you making your way over?
Probably by Skyrail.
Okay, simple trip. And then Avran, once you're back in the city, anything that you want to do, or are you just going in and taking a rest? It's too late in the day to get a downtime activity in, but you can do kind of minor stuff.
Okay. I mean, I'll just. I guess I'll go with Fiona to the library.
Okay. Fiona, are you okay with company?
Yeah, she would look a little surprised though, and kind of mention that
When
I didn't know
meet
you
with-
could read.
well, basically saying like,
I'm going to meet with my professor. So when that is happening, could you maybe be elsewhere while that is happening?
she'll just kind of like gesture to her area of the library.
I just wish to learn more about certain things.
The shade.
Oh, of course.
The
Fiona would
shade.
kind of like set him up at a table in like a quiet area and kind of like have one eye on him as she goes about her business. But she, after like a few minutes, just fully leaves him to go look for Corrigan.
Okay. Yeah, you find him well enough. It's the day after Dan. He seems to have 3 things going on at his table. Looks like one of the 3 endeavors does appear to be related to the inquiries you had made before you left. He looks up at you and says, "Oh, yeah, not much, I'm afraid. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That's actually why I was coming to you. I was hoping I could find more information about the doors from perhaps someone dwarvish in Tessa. The other area I'm looking at is Parnak. I'm not sure if either area has come up in your studies.
Wait, you're leaving the city?
I might be. To figure out more of what I told you down in that tomb.
You know the journey's not going to be cheap, right?
No, of course not. I was also hoping you might know of someone who will offer magical transportation.
No, it's not really a thing Nock is capable of doing. The only people I know who are capable of such magics would be in, like, the higher houses, like the 10 houses. There might be someone in House Montoulet who's capable, but I know you're not fond of them. I'm certain House Gravesend probably has someone who's capable of moving through space, but I don't think that would be something that I can arrange for you. Sorry, my friends are book readers. We aren't really spellcasters.
She just nods her head in understanding. Of course, you've been more than helpful with your research capabilities. I was more just inquiring if you think there's any sort of historical significance to either location.
Well,
perhaps some maps I can read.
With the information you were able to grant, I do have to agree Tessa would probably be the best place to look and research into this matter, because I tried to get some of this to some of the craftsmen that I know in House Harrigan, and they didn't have time for me. They said, we know we will not treat with you on this. It seemed like they might have knowledge on it, but they're not going to be. Harrigan's always been stingy with its secrets. But perhaps someone in Tessa might be a little bit more fun, especially if you show them this, because apparently it was enough to cause them to take umbrage and end the conversation quickly and curtly.
Interesting.
I'll keep researching, though. There might be something in the Grand Library that might be worth noting. Anyway, I have these other two matters I have to deal with as well. I'm sure if I find anything, his call stone kind of puts it up and says, if you're around, I'll see if I can't get in contact with you.
Of course. Fiona will take out hers and sort of like connect them.
Oh, no, you're already connected with him.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. And Avran, in the library, is there anything that you're wanting to engage in while there? Anything you want to just research?
Avran wanted to research what exactly happened to Ludos post death of Avran Normack and Ryuma.
Oh yeah, there's nothing really on that because Avran Normack isn't a historical figure, and the last Ryumand was hundreds and hundreds of years ago at the beginning of the Civil War. The reason why the Civil War began in the first place is because the Ryumand was removed and replaced with a regent that was loyal to the conglomerate. And then Ludos basically became subservient to the conglomerate rule because they enforced a agency of absolute law when it comes to concerns regarding magic, using religious fear of Meridian cultists as kind of the driver for them being able to kind of manipulate the military into doing heinous acts upon other citizens of the Triumvirate. The first initiated blows in the Civil War were Ludos against Munio, but Munio was able to kind of defend itself at the Mudis region and not allow them to further enter into the Valens region of Munio kingdom. Once they were pushed back, Ludos took umbrage with this and committed to attacking Liberus instead. As that battle engaged, Liberus, the kingdom to the southeast, called for Munio to aid. Munio did not. So Liberus was very quickly taken over by Ludosian forces, and the Pelagic Arbiters, which are the judges that kind of rule the cities and city-states of Liberus, vanished. as did the King of Thunder, or the Citrine King, who also was another missing king. Munio's king is not king in the traditional sense, more in the kind of modernity sense, where they're just kind of a figurehead. Munio is ruled by a parliament, and they are elected officials from different parts of Munio. The pelagic arbiters are people who are born into their positions, but some people are pulled into the pelagic arbitership by deeds instead, and the king is very much in charge, but doesn't deal with matters judicial, only with matters regarding governance. And then Ludos has always been just a very executive kind of minded body. The main forces of the armies of Osiria were always Ludosian, as it's the main kind of block against Dark, the province to the north.
Interesting.
Osirian politics.
Osirian.
The Civil War ended when the Lich Majir in the capital city was defeated. You already know this.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Type.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do it louder.
I'm gonna
Is
fight
there
chat.
is there any information that I can gather on the current ruler,
Oh,
or
so
the current figurehead?
yeah, for Ludos right now, it is currently not ruled by anyone. They received their orders, marching orders, so to speak, from the high priestess of the Grand Church of Osiris in the capital. And she basically delegates that matter to one of her 3 hierophants.
Interesting. And no mention of this Donovan Sloan.
No mentions historically of Donovan Sloan in this library, no. Other than the traditional mentions of Donovan Sloan being the moniker taken up by Ryaman the 144th, as he was exiled from the kingdom of Ludos, and then a bit about his journeys with the individual known as Thorn Stashionotl and his resurgence to king status, and a bit more about his son, Ryaman the 145th, who was a member of the Grey Order.
Interesting. Okay. After that, I think he would probably try to I don't know if it's possible, but try to find someone that
Talk
could
to Hezrod to see what he's doing. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shift
Let's
over
do,
to Chad and see what his character's doing while you're
I'm
doing
sorry.
that. It's okay. I know. I love the limelight too, buddy. But Hezrod,
No, I have more questions.
I know.
I'll ask later.
That's fine. I assume that Kel is with you. Is that right?
That's up to Kel.
It's more a question for John than it was for you, and you might be muted. John, you talking?
Sorry, say that one more time.
What are you doing? Oh, I was asking Hezrod what he's doing in the city, but then I also asked as kind of an addendum, is Kel kind of maneuvering with Hezrod still, or is he wanting to try and go out to the city and do his own thing?
No, he would definitely move around with Hezrod, as he's still very unfamiliar with a city of this size.
I'm definitely getting buddy cop feel or vibes. It's good.
Fish bros for life.
Yeah, Abram's kind of got a bit of soul pain and isn't able to buddy cop with Hezrod anymore, so I get that. It's good that
Gotta get that Wolverine stuff out.
Gotta do my
And, like,
Wolverine arc.
The sheer amount of just like not open space,
Yes.
or like just really makes Kel nervous.
Yes, it's
It's
absolutely
nice to have someone escorting him.
it's absolutely dizzying the heights, especially if Chad answers a certain way. Which method of travel are you traveling if you're traveling anywhere? Are you going anywhere in particular? Again, it's late. There's not enough time to do a downtime activity. But if you just...
Right. He would probably walk. He would wander kind of semi-aimlessly. He's still got a lot on his mind, and he's like processing and thinking a lot. Like basically like the one sort of point of direction he had for the past, I don't know, couple months is like he just let it go.
To be sure,
I mean,
go ahead, John.
I mean, I'd definitely ask if he wants company first. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you Want someone to tag around with you? I mean, I'm still unfamiliar with this. He kind of looks around this place.
That is fine.
All right.
I have nothing in particular I intend to do, but walking helps me think. Normally I would swim, but
Oh, I hear you.
Now, as he says that and he's kind of like, vibing, you kind of look over and do see a canalway. There are canalways that can be utilized for boat travel, but it doesn't say no swimming anywhere, and there don't seem to be rules about that.
I imagine this is like what? Like industrial London?
No.
I mean, is that water like filthy?
Is
that where
There's
everybody
no
dumps
water.
all their shit and piss and other garbage?
It's not, actually. The canalways are actually relatively clean. They're more like exterior. I don't know if you've ever been to England, but like the canalways, like kind of outside of the cities, are a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. The ones that are closer to cities like Birmingham and stuff are pretty bad. I agree, but like I mean, like these are pretty pristine. You've been in the city long enough to know that they have working kind of trash disposal. They have working plumbing. It's not like people are defecating in the canalways like olden times.
Well, there is a place he would eventually meander to, if only to observe it from a distance, and that is the Montoulet house.
Okay. So yeah, the Montoulet kind of complex is kind of the best way to kind of think about it is like a large kind of university. The dizzying kind of heights of the spires, the visible kind of like clash that the town around it, because you're in the Golden District, has. It's kind of like a very dark, spiry kind of space. But yeah, you are able to see the house just fine from here, like the large complex of it. But yeah, just staring at it really isn't going to give you much information, and you're not.
No, I mean it's one of those things where he's just thinking.
Yeah, she's in
and he
there.
kind of stares at it for a while, and then he keeps moving on.
You do have the
He'll eat a
vibe,
variety of like street food and like beer and shit as he's walking.
and the street foods here are insanely good. They do have a lot of great options. But I will say this: there is a vibe that you get when you do kind of meander around the house, like she's in there. It just But yeah, like I was saying, the street foods very quickly take your kind of mind away from it. A lot of fried, sugary products, like think kind of carnival food, like elephant ears or churros. There's also kind of a lot of different kind of walking, kind of edible foods. I would say things.
Stuff on sticks.
Yeah, stuff on sticks, and also kind of like easily foldable, like dough
Euros.
slices, or with stuff in them. Yeah. Very much kind of Euro pizza, kind of like stuff like that. Calzone.
Hezrod would pay for all of Kel's stuff.
Oh yeah, you easily spend a gold through the walk, but like it's not expensive.
Kel would be able to insist. Kel would insist. No. And they'd fight and bicker. Be like, no, I'll pay. No, I'll pay. No, I'll pay.
The thing that Kel's kind of noticing, because Kel's kind of out in the frontiers and has probably seen a lot of hamlets and towns that are not too dissimilar from like people like Malico were raised and stuff like that. The one thing that everyone kind of doesn't really grasp for Knock, and I just want to make sure it's kind of pointed out there is no poor element. Everyone is kind of given a sense of dignity in their life in the city. There are people who kind of live like in a lesser state, like kind of just a small little apartment or a small little hovel, but the food is insanely affordable, and the people are not selling it at cutthroat rates to try and kind of earn a living. They're just doing it because they like making food. Everyone seems to have kind of like a city sponsored means of kind of keeping themselves afloat, and that's
which would normally be what Kel would hear the opposite of.
Yeah, because in the towns and the places that you've visited that are not, river folk kind of moving up and down the rivers, it's always like no one's really looking after everyone else. It's just, take what you can get.
Right.
So this city is as you kind of move through it, with the exception of that weird-looking Montoulet compound, everything is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty chill.
I picture like a Scooby-Doo mansion.
Yeah.
Like
For sure. The best way I can kind of describe it visually would be to kind of think of like high spires of like a if you're familiar with Moorcock writings. No, yes, probably not.
No.
Okay, so not an Elric fan. That's fine. Think of like kind of
Sounds
just
familiar.
high kind of vaulted spires that are kind of like spun sugar, and like all different types of like deep dark colors like purples and kind of like it's very like Russian Gothic, like
Oh, like Michael Moorcock. Yeah, actually.
yeah,
Never mind.
yeah, like Elric, yeah. Like
Yes,
think
yes,
of like
yep.
the dragon spires of Melniboné, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely it. But yeah, other than that, everything else is very nice. You actually come to the realization that the bricks are made out of mycelium, like kind of compounded into like a mushroom state, or like a brick state rather. And it seems like it's a lot of the buildings are built out of like vegetable material, which is
That's
another
sweet.
kind of like what?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Not so much in the Golden District. It seems like a lot of the stuff that's kind of built there is kind of older than other places, but the Magic District for sure, where Elm Woods is located. In fact, Elm Woods is outside, exterior, mostly mushroom brick.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, you two have a good kind of walk through it. Hazard, at any point, do you open up?
Hold that thought.
Okay. Then I'll shift from you and I'll go right to the meat of it all then. Soma and Estella, you drive up to the Daigot household, which itself is also a complex. You park right where you acquired the vehicle, and you head into the grand hall of the main Daigot building. The best way I can kind of describe this place is kind of just a very beautiful kind of marble flooring.
Sorry about that. My work truck alarm is going off.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, I do want to cover this before I get to the other bit. So, real quick, Chad, do you at all open up to Kel about your thoughts for like a dialogue between you two to kind of work through it together? Or is Hezron just kind of focusing it in his mind and keeping it there?
No, he would be willing to share his thoughts. He's got to get them out eventually.
Roleplay.
Like right now, he's kind of caught between like he had like he made. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just roleplay it. Just like as you're kind of walking, I'm assuming there are moments where you're kind of like, doing that kind of like staring off and kind of annoyed face. And Kel, would you kind of start up? Do you even want company? You're still kind of like hedging, like what's happening here. So like, if you want to open it up, John, go ahead.
Hold on.
Fine, I'm moving away from you two. I don't care anymore. I'm messing with what I want to mess with. When he comes back, if he starts talking, I'm a karate chop his face.
Chop, chop.
Just move on.
The grand hall of House Daigot. Beautiful marble floors, elegant looking chamber with a series of doors all throughout the space. There's a very large kind of statue in the background. It looks like there are larger doors kind of set in that statue. It looks like the space in question is very business oriented. And you can see people passing letters, people moving kind of documents to one another. There's a lot of engagement happening here. Business is kind of booming in this space. But Soma knows where he's going. He walks towards a certain door, moves through it into a hallway, moves down that hallway to a certain door, and the name on the door is Copperhead.
Elma will knock quietly, as I'm sure he did the last time.
Yeah, come on in.
Elma will push open the door and motion for Estella.
Enter into the office. You see a man kind of standing up from behind the desk, kind of brushing off his leather armor, looking to Estella, and he says, "Knight's Shadow, Pleasure meeting finally. The man you see in front of you is a human. He appears to be probably middle-aged, somewhere in his 40s, possibly 50s. He has blonde hair, surprisingly with no sign of aging, despite his kind of scruffy facial hair having clearly evident signs of age within it. As he kind of raises his hand to kind of gesture, towards the two seats that are kind of in front of his desk, you can see that his right hand is missing two of his fingers here, just gone. And it looks like the glove he's wearing has kind of been fashioned to kind of like, just hold these fingers. He appears to have a number of daggers on his person, some of them quite elegant looking. And he just has like a vibe that is very much just like pure bandit man. Like he's like a scruffy pirate guy. He's like a highwayman, he's a ne'er-do-well. He's that guy. Yeah, he seems to
Done
be
it all.
Upstanding citizen.
Upstanding citizen in this official capacity inside of an office, which very much clashes with his whole vibe. He gestures towards the seat and
Gotta have a day job.
goes back to right. You certainly do. The nights are for plundering and pillaging. The days are for desk work. But yeah,
Gotta keep life interesting.
absolutely. Gestures towards the seat. First time we've ever met, but not the first time you've worked for me.
True.
Has our friend Ren here gone over anything or tried to imagine on anything that might be happening in this regard?
He did not give me any details, so I simply hypothesized that if it required the both of us, it must be a complicated and high-paying job.
Well, complicated, to be sure. High paying, it just depends. It's very complicated. So,
Always is. I suppose it's political since it is complicated.
you can say that. Yeah, it's definitely something that'll get noticed. We've got a problem. A bit of a vacuum has kind of opened up due to our recent issues with the idealists underneath our building. And I mean that to say individuals who were part of the family here, part of the corporation, kind of went out on their own, trying to do something big. It didn't go over well because the clandestine heroes of the library came to save the day and uncovered too that these people were aligned with death cultists, demon worshippers, underneath our house. So I know that Ren here is a huge fan of reputations. And I know by reputation you have a sterling one. So you should understand Daigot's not too keen on keeping their reputation sullied as it is. Unfortunately, that means some people gotta have their heads get rolled for that to be the case. The loudest voices rise up to the top. He raises up his half hand. 3 ladies are causing us problems in and around the Steel District. It seems that they've got some means of protection from the Mardigan family, but I've already gone through negotiations with my contacts therein to halt that. No good. They won't make moves on them. I get it. Honor amongst thieves and all that, sure. But I need them dealt with. The names: Alyona of House Harrigan, Scarlet Alvarin and Gwynvalia Silverkin. Of course, you're going to ask how they're related to our most recent issue under the house. Easy enough to answer. House Harrigan supplied them with their means of attack in the way of weaponry. Scarlet was down there under the house. She was the main contact for those who splintered off from Digot to tangle with mask-wearer idealists. And Gwynvalia. Both of you recognize the name Gwynvalia Silverkin. She's a freelance assassin. She's quite good. You know quite a bit about her reputation and being very exacting. You've never crossed blades with her, but you understand that she's kind of a high-end player. It's good that she's not entered your space, both of you, but you are well aware enough of her through rumor to kind of know who he's talking about here.
Mm.
She seems to be the one who's being hired on by the splinter of Digot to deal with problems inside of Digot. Fortunately, that splinter cell has been dealt with, thanks in part to the heroes of the library. These people need to die, and I need them to be kind of returned in a certain state so we can prove our innocence, for lack of a better way of phrasing it. The other thing I would like to have done here is this isn't just a regular, it kind of makes a garrote kind of gesture, looking at Estella, kind of looks over to Soma. She's here to make sure it gets done. Period. I don't care about the qualms or concerns of our little heroes. They may not be too keen on murdering people that they could try and find innocent or could lie their way out of one of the deepest prisons in Osiria. I guarantee you, Scarlet could. Anyway, she's here to make sure it gets handled. You're here to make sure it looks right. The PR needs to be simplistic, easy, very keen and clean. The heroes of the library gotta be the ones that do it. However, you need to maneuver them into a position where it lookins that way, I don't care. And even if you're not the one that buries the blade or chokes the life out of them, as I understand it to be your specialty, so be it. The thing is when people come questioning, the heroes of the library need to be the ones that take the rap. There won't be any legal repercussions. Like I said, once they're delivered, so to speak, they should be more than willing to divulge their secrets to the powers that be. Clearing your friends' names, what have you. But again, specificity is necessary. If they die thinking that they're being killed by House Digot, that's probably what they're going to tell everybody once they're asked posthumously. However, if they think they were defeated by the heroes of the library, that may not be an issue. So not only you were trying to fool the people who are going to be asking the questions, you got to fool the people who are answering the questions. Speaking of questions, you got any?
They have their morals, which circumstances have necessitated changing a few times, but what is in it for them?
So, as I mentioned, Scarlet is very much associated with demons. Shouldn't be a hard presser to get her put to task by a holy swordsman of Atavius. Eliona will probably be the hardest of the lot, as she has kind of concealed herself back in her original house and is dealing with bureaucratic matters. An annoying fact that, but in all honesty, if it were just a slashing, it'd be the easiest one to do. She's pretty boring. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to find or, find connections between her and the others. Gwenvalia is a horrible murderer. Shouldn't be too hard to dig up some skeletons in her closet, as I'm sure you're well aware of skeletons in your own. The specifics of that question, though, Soma, are your problem. The specifics of them having their lives ended, looks to Estella, is your problem.
I can take care of it.
All right. Good deal. Well, I don't have much going on for the rest of the afternoon, but I'd rather spend it by myself. Kind of gestures towards the door. Oh, don't let me forget. Kind of slides open his drawer, pulls out a stack of papers, kind of sets them out on the table in front of Soma. The cover sheet is the Ren symbol.
I was about to ask if there was any news, since I did not give you much time.
I told you I'd give you what I got. That's what I did. But your bit of information regarding the matter, like I said, will prove helpful. Hasn't yet, but will.
Appreciated. And there's no connection between any of these people and houses and that task by chance?
No, not that I can foresee. Although Gwenvalia is quite skillful. Could be the case. But I'd say maybe like 10% chance of that. If regarding payment, Night Shadow. House Daigot and the Mur Enclave have always had a good, coordinated, substantive allegiance regarding these matters, so far as to say our past jobs. I would say the normal fare doubled, and I believe too. I believe it's the case on rumor that the Mare Enclave is doing something associated somehow with Land's End.
They are.
As you kind of read him in the statement, you know two things. Like, I just want to make sure you're aware of these two things before we move on too much further. He doesn't know your real name.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that you're associated with Land's End.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're kind of like realizing that from this guy, you're kind of looking over at Soma like, okay, well, at least he's not dropping all of the info.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. But he says, well, whatever their processes are there, I can talk to my contacts in Sereda and make sure everything goes swimmingly for the Mare Enclave there as well. So a little bit of, diplomatic payment as well as a little bit of coin should be fair. You think so?
I think that is. I believe the Enclave will be happy with that.
Perfect. And we're at an agreement. He again just at the door.
Happily leaves.
Yeah. Back out into the main hall. Any conversation between you two before you kind of exit out to the carriage?
Well, I suppose I have some planning to do. I'm not sure if. I know you usually don't prefer to be involved in those parts.
Not particularly. I prefer the act of doing rather than the planning of doing.
Then perhaps it would be best, as distasteful as I'm sure you'll find it, to visit Anne back at the tavern to thank her on behalf of you and your husband while I sort out some other matters.
Absolutely, I'm sure she has a few gossipy rumors to pass on to my beloved as well.
The lateness of the hour, you kind of arrive back. I'm sure you're going to side message me some stuff regarding your evening engagements, Tom, and that's fine. And I will be sending you the information regarding what he has given you, the documents you just received. I will be sending Josie information regarding the question you asked him before, and I assume that in that kind of latter portion of the engagement, you researched the Great Order as well, right? Regarding the Undying Soldier.
Yes.
I'll be sending you information regarding that as well. Jonah, again, the stuff I kind of recited to you is, I think, mostly covered in the wiki regarding Ryoman history. Don't worry about that. Shouldn't be needed. And then Hezrod, you and Kel have a wonderful day, and we'll get to bed just decently enough. So next session, we'll start with you kind of getting together, gathering together, and sleeping. But also it could start at a later point beyond that, as you can now engage in downtime activity again, and pursue that in character side chats. If none of that is handled, then next session will begin at the start of the next day. Sound good?
Gucci.
Sure.
Thanks for
Yeah,
watching
cool.
those that did, and we will see you next time.